at USPS.com/careers.
Sides and totals are obviously awesome, but how can you not love betting on props?
Nick Costos, co-host of You Better You Bet, 3 to 7 p.m. Eastern on the BetQL network.
I love it because it's like playing fantasy sports, except you're betting on the game. Which player is going to have a lot of success in the game? I think prop bets are absolutely tremendous and a different way of thinking about handicapping and betting on a sporting event.
All the insight you need to bet smarter is at BetQL.com. And listen to You Better You Bet with Nick Costos and Ken Barkley, streaming weekdays from 3 to 7 p.m. Eastern on Odyssey.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code JOY at checkout. That's harrys.com, code JOY. Enjoy.
Everyone knows how beneficial therapy can be, but traditional therapy can be overwhelming, confusing, and inconvenient. When scheduling in-person therapy, it can be difficult to find the right therapist near you, and it can take weeks to get on their calendar. We knew there had to be a better way, and that's where BetterHelp began. I'm Danny, co-founder of BetterHelp Online Therapy. When Alana and I started BetterHelp in 2013, our mission was simple: find a way to make professional therapy accessible, affordable, and convenient for everyone. BetterHelp works around your schedule and lifestyle. You can connect to a therapist by phone, video call, or even text message. You don't even have to turn on your camera if you don't feel comfortable. And if your therapist isn't the right fit, you can switch anytime with the click of a button, because BetterHelp is designed with you in mind. See why over 2 million members have trusted BetterHelp for online therapy. Go to betterhelp.com/youfirst and get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/youfirst. for 10% off your first month.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KTMC FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app. They're longtime friends.
Let me tell you something real quick about Dibs that I'm sure not everybody knows.
And first-time partners.
Hang in there, big guy. There'll be brighter days ahead.
Now, these two homegrown Bay Area boys finally come together to take over sports talk.
Get the hell off of my doorstep.
Major League Baseball, you stink.
It's Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
It is Willard and Dibs, but it is not Willard and Dibs. I'm not Mark Willard, and my man Larry Krueger is not Dan Dibley. But we're doing something special today, Larry, on this Good Friday. We'll do 2 hours of our Willard and Dibs, and then 12 o'clock we'll go into Steiny and Guru. You're Steiny today. I mean, how excited are you about what's about to manifest? We got football last night. We got a big show. We got Eric Crocker, Locked On 49ers podcast. He'll join us at 11:30. Chad Brown, he's calling the game for Compass Media Network. Larry, he'll join us at 12:30. And then the Super Bowl champ, Dan Hampton, at 1 o'clock, NFL Hall of Famer, obviously of the legendary 85 Bears. I'm Juice. We got 4 hours. Are you ready?
Oh, dude, I am so ready. What's going on, man?
I had your shirt that you gave me. It is a dope-ass shirt, but the cleaner lady wasn't open. So the cleaners wasn't open, so I couldn't get it. And we would have been twins.
You're taking a T-shirt to the cleaners?
That's how I get down.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
That's how your boy does it. Yeah.
You're not going to get hit by a car wearing that shirt.
Dude,
look at
the green. This is for money that I'm going to make tomorrow with college football and Sunday. And it starts, first, hold on. Let's go Rob Lowe. I'm going to slow down. About last night.
Oh.
The Niners got good news with the first football game of the 2022 season. Did anything happen in that game that shocked you? Because to me, and I'm growing in this sense, I'm not going to overreact. It was tied at half, but I can make an argument. And I think I sent a tweet, Larry. It looked like preseason football.
Well, I mean, first of all, it was a great night for the 49ers. Great night. Why? Because, first of all, I don't know if I told you this, but my kind of, surprise pick that I actually believe is going to happen this year is the Rams are going to miss the playoffs.
Did you call that?
Yeah, I said the Rams are going to miss the playoffs, and I'm going to stay with that. I think the Rams missed the playoffs this year. Why? Because you get rid of Whitworth and you put in Joe Notaboom, and they gave up 7 sacks and 15 hits on Matthew Stafford, who rolls into this year with a bad elbow. I mean, seriously, 15 hits on your quarterback. And guess what? Buffalo blitzed not once.
Wow.
Not once.
Go ahead, man.
They got it done with their front four.
Man.
15
That's a
hits.
telling sign.
7 sacks and 15 hits. The Rams are thin.
But they lost their best O-lineman. He retired.
Right. And they lost Corbett in free agency, so they lost 2/5 of their O-line.
And Von Miller, he looks like there's something left in the tank.
Oh, my God.
I thought he was done, Larry. I'm going to be honest.
Did you?
Yeah, I just thought he was older. It's not anything bad, but last night he was part of that pressure on Stafford, and I'm like, damn, you won a Super Bowl with him. And I'm going to say this, because I look at Aaron Donald like Bosa, and Armstead had a damn good season yesterday, and I'm not telling you the football connoisseur or anything you don't know, but when you got a dominant lineman or just a dominant player, Larry, everybody needs help. And last night it looked like Donald didn't have any help. You can't just do it by yourself.
I mean, Von Miller is a huge loss, right? I mean, they lost him. He was great. He was incredible.
Like, no biggie.
I mean, look at last year. NFC championship game, Super Bowl.
That's when he came alive.
Who was the guy? It was Von Miller. I mean, not that Donald wasn't great too, but Von Miller is an incredible player. I mean, he was an incredible player at A&M. I mean, going way back. He keeps himself in great shape, and he's going to, Buffalo, the scary thing is Buffalo looks.
But they had turnovers, too. It wasn't all pretty yesterday, Larry.
Yeah, but
and it was 10-10 at half, when they should have been up 20. I just want to ask you and the people listening, when did Buffalo take that step that wasn't on the football field? Because the last time I saw them, they choked that defense, led by Leslie Frazier. They choked the lead against Kansas City, and all of a sudden they were just the darlings. And again, they won the game. But it wasn't really a TKO last night.
Well, I disagree, man. I mean, come on. 84% of his passes. That's what Josh Allen completed against the Rams last night. 84%. Now they lost Brian Dable. They bring in Dorsey, Ken Dorsey, who played at Miramani and Orinda.
Look at local kid.
Yeah, seriously, local kid. And they didn't miss a beat. I mean, Cook fumbled early for them. But they didn't miss a beat. They've got weapons. Isaiah McKenzie, Gabe Davis. I mean, the kid from Maryland, the receiver, is just totally dominant. Toasted Ramsey, Diggs.
Is he a myth? Because Debo owns him. Debo,
you mean Ramsey?
Ramsey. Ramsey. I think
you're talking about
he
Diggs.
never admits when he gets cooked, and he's been in the oven here lately. And I'm watching that game last night. Like your boy Diggs took him behind the woodshed. And we all saw it, but he just has this aura of like, I'm perfect. I'm Neon Dion. I'm better than that. And you're not. He got cooked last night, and Debo's cooked him a few times. And I'm just like, Larry, I feel like he gets a pass. But everybody was on social media. I wasn't happy, but they were coming after him like, dude, it's all good. Just admit and tap into you got cooked.
Well, I mean, there was a miscommunication, right? I mean, Ramsey thought he was playing zone. He's passing off Diggs to nobody.
But you're a vet, though, Larry.
No, I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying it wasn't like he was locked up in man coverage and Diggs ran right on by. It was he let him run by because he thought he was in a zone. He was passing him off to somebody else. I don't know who he was passing him off to because the safety
That's
help
your
wasn't
fault.
there.
Yeah, you got to trust your eyes.
It's early in the year. The communication's not there, but Buffalo looks
okay. All right.
To me, my pick for the Super Bowl is Niners-Buffalo.
I had Denver.
You have Denver Niners?
No, I had Denver Rams.
Denver Rams.
And what scared me is you don't even have the Rams in the Super Bowl. And I'm looking at the Comcast business text line. They're talking about the Rams, and rightfully so. They won the Super Bowl, have the difficult schedule. So if you're onto something, and last night was more than just a Super Bowl hangover. I mean, how many times we see it in the NBA and NFL, Larry? Ring night, you're champs. You kind of come out there, but I didn't see that fire. And I was telling Bonte and Shasky this in the green room. I don't know about that SoFi Stadium. I know it's a cathedral. It's better than Jerry Jones World. But as far as the that home, field advantage.
It's LA, man.
Yeah.
They have no home
I'm hearing
field.
the Shasky tell them they're pumping in crowd noise.
That's the worst home field in the league. Seriously.
That's what I'm saying.
Anybody's going to roll in there and kick the Rams or Chargers around this year. That's a quiet place. That is not that's not a place that's rocking and rolling with Rams fans. Half those people are transplants.
Wow.
The Niners rolled in there and there was their crowd.
Should have won the game.
Absolutely.
Tart was on with the roast a couple of days ago. Did you hear him?
Yeah.
But they were asking them tough questions.
But ultimately, I think the Rams. Where was Cam Akers? He didn't look like anything. Where was Allen
They didn't
Robinson?
even try to run the ball though.
How about Allen Robinson? Where was Allen Robinson?
So they got weaponry.
Stafford is old. Stafford's got a bad elbow. He had a premier left tackle who retired.
That is big.
Now you got Joe Notaboom.
Yeah.
And you just got hit 15 times.
Yeah, dude.
And how long is that going to last?
And speaking of hitting, I know we're not in Buffalo, but how many times did Josh Allen get hit? And it was like by design. What was Buffalo doing? Like, this is your season. This is the guy in my fantasy quarterback.
Is he the best? I think he might be the best.
Damn,
like
Larry.
Right now, if you said best quarterback in the NFL, I'm taking him.
I'm not mad. How about that? I'll get back to you. I'm not mad at that answer. I was going to say Mahomes.
Are you going to say Mahomes or are you going to say Rodgers?
But Mahomes has regressed to the point to where I'm watching him with X-ray vision this season, Mahomes, because he's been a magician. But to Josh Allen, I'm not mad at you. I took him, nobody cares, second in my fantasy draft. So I'm not mad at that answer. But Larry, Sunday is week 1 of the NFL season, which for the Niners. And they're in Chi-Town.
Yep.
And the word around town everywhere is they're going to beat the crap out of the Bears, who are bottom feeders. And I heard the great Damon Bruce, I can't wait to talk to him today, denounced his fanship for the Bears. And I got to let him know, Damon, you can't do that. Damon Bruce, I know you're a lifer. You can't turn in your papers, bud.
Oh, seriously.
So I can't wait to see if that's true.
We have to call him out on that.
That hurt my soul.
Have you ever done that?
No, I'm a Pirate fan.
Would you ever do that?
No.
I wouldn't either.
You can't do it.
I don't care if tomorrow they said, you know what? You're doing an afternoon drive in Chicago.
Go ahead.
I'm a Niners fan.
All day long.
And I'm not switching.
I do it daily. But yeah, Larry, you can't. Ain't no swaying on that. You can have envy. I wish I would, but you can never, ever. It says so much about the personality.
Never switch.
David, we need to talk to you, bud.
Come on, D.
We'll let him know.
Never make that switch.
So everything this week, it's Willard and Dibs. I'm Guru. It's Larry Krueger holding it down until 12 p.m. Looking, towards this matchup, week 1, I'm excited. But all week it's been about, we'll get into Captain Gate. I'll get your thoughts on that. I thought that was a bunch of hogwash. But George Kittle being on the injury report and not practicing yesterday, Larry, I'm not going to come in here and tell you I act like I know it all, but we've seen Kittle miss games. It happens. It's a position, it's a physical position, tight end. He's putting his body on the line. And what do they say? Oh, he's one of the best blocking, if not the best blocking tight ends. But if you're telling me now out of nowhere, before a game has been played, and I guess it was, I heard Bonte say this, dubbed a bonus practice. If you got a growing issue, that's major. And then if you don't play and Lance doesn't have you at his disposal, this is a big deal. Tell me I'm wrong.
Oh, no, you're not wrong. It's a huge deal. And George Kittle, the old saying, you can't make the club in the tub. I
love that.
You gotta play. You gotta play. Everybody's hurt. Tell me when you're injured, kind of a thing. Now he's got a groin. It's early in the year. They're trying to be, take precautions. They have a game here. They think they probably can win without him.
Okay.
I think that probably fares into the equation a little bit. But George Kittle has got to stay on the field. I looked it up. George Kittle has missed roughly a third of the games over the last 3 seasons.
Wow.
That's a lot of games.
And that's since he got paid.
That's a lot of games.
Yeah, they paid him that chicken.
So, that's a concern. And he's so valuable. There's really 3 guys on this team that you can't replace. Now 2, because you got Jimmy-Trey at quarterback, Trent at left tackle, and Kittle at tight end.
Wow.
Now you got Garoppolo, but if Trent goes down, you got no answer. And if Kittle goes down, you have no answer. So I nothing against Warner, nothing against Dwelly. I caught up with Dwelly in the locker room yesterday. He said nothing's different for him. But the reality is Kittle's a great blocker and a great receiver, and he's irreplaceable. And there's a major step from Kittle to Warner, or Kittle to Dwelly, or Kittle to Croft. They do have 4 tight ends, so now they do have the depth to absorb this. But there ain't a George Kittle in that tight end room. So this is a huge hit.
And Larry, like he could have tweaked it. Obviously, he tweaked it. I don't know what happened and how it happened, but the one constant this preseason was we weren't going to see the veterans like Kittle out there. And the reason was they were trying to preserve them. And I get it. And it was all around the league. And I still think the Rams were rusty. No excuses. But what's bothering me now is this starting to be more of a trend than a blip? Because it wasn't like you were out there playing in games to aggravate your growing. And we know about the birth certificate. I'm not dare saying he's old, but these are the type of issues and injuries that can linger. And we've seen a guy like him. I call him the Hulk Hogan of football. I mean, he gives it all to you. He's like a wrestler. I just don't like the narrative that the body is tweaked to the point to before you even play the real game, he's hurt.
Yeah.
That Larry. Do you think we see him Sunday?
No.
Damn.
No, I don't think he's going to play
Chalk
Sunday.
one up for the Bears in that to make, if they shock the world, this is good news to help you.
I mean, and you know, the Bears were a 6-win team that got worse. The Niners were a 10-win team last year that got better. So the 49ers should win this game, and they should win it big. But you know what? I watched the Bears in the preseason. They can run it. They got David Montgomery. They got Khalil Herbert. They got 2 backs who kind of, will fight and claw for every little, inch, every little possibility of a yard. And so they're going to get into 3rd and short. And then it's going to be, play action to Cole Kmet. It's going to be, can you contain the running of Justin Fields? And they're going to try to play ball
something
control.
to prove. I don't know how good the kid is, but I know what I saw last year, just like a lot of the rookies in that draft class with Trey Lance. When you have no blocking, I'm not just going to put it all at your doorstep. My point is, Larry, Fields is not dumb. He's not deaf. He's not blind. He's hearing what's being said about him. He has pride. All athletes have pride, and he has something to prove. And, they got rid of I'm just like, I expect them week 1 to be the best version of themselves. And they may get, 7-point spread in Vegas. I'm taking the Niners. I hate this Kittle news, but I expect a blowout. But I won't be shocked, Larry, if it's, I was doing radio with JD the other day, if we see something 21-13, like a close NFL game.
I mean, it's boring to say it, but it's about run the ball, stop the run, don't turn it over.
Okay.
If the Niners can
Bible.
If the Niners can establish the run, not let to me, the one concern I have for the 49ers is how are they going to stop the run inside if teams stick with it? I mean, DJ Jones, shut that down last year. Shut it down. The guys used to joke with me across the way because I used to call him Leverage McLeverage.
Okay.
Because the guy,
I'm going to give you a 3.
He's 6 feet. He's 325. And
That's a big boy.
And he's hard to uproot out of there. But you don't have that now. Now you got Kittle. Now you got Kinlaw. And I was talking to Drake Jackson yesterday in the locker room, and Drake Jackson's calling.
That's your guy. You got me looking at him.
Kinlaw and Drake.
Yeah, Drake Jackson.
Drake's a cool guy. Really cool guy. And it's funny. I was talking to him. I felt like I was talking to my kid. Seriously. I mean, he's such a young guy. But he was talking about how Kinlaw's a mutant. He kept calling him a mutant.
That's an X-Men.
He's like, this guy is just a freak in nature. So it's time for Kinlaw in year 3, who comes into this year healthy, to not just fire some highlight plays, but he's got to play low pad level against the run, shut it down inside. He's got to be DJ Jones, because that's the one concern I have of this Niner D. They're better in the secondary. They're fast at linebacker. They're deep up front. Can they stop the run at the point? In the A gaps, right down.
And they're going to run away from Bosa.
Teams are going to try to run.
Yeah, they ain't running at Bosa. They're going to run on the other side. Like you said, it takes a village, man.
Can they stop the run?
That is so big. And if you get Fields comfortable and we see some play action pass and he's hitting the tight end, things like that, and the clock's just ticking, and you get in the second quarter, Larry, you get to halftime and it's the game, third quarter, and then if we see a blunder or a turnover, I'm just describing an average day Sunday in the NFL. It's crazy. And a friend of the program, Larry, let me read this to you because it gets me mad. Stop it, Guru. Players get hurt in training camp all the time. Stress over your Cowboy injuries. That's from Halftime Jay. But my point is, you are right, Halftime Jay, but one of your weapons and arguably your best players, to me, got hurt doing nothing. And now is he going to – and how many times do we see this? You may need to give me a drink, Larry. Bloody Mary.
Get you a drink.
Larry, where you rush the player back and then they re-aggravate it and then they're out longer. So you got to proceed with caution with Kittle. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and it's not only about Kittle, Goo. It's about the whole team. I mean, the 49ers have been one of the NFL's most consistently injured
I would
teams,
love to know why.
And I'd love to know why as well. And I think they would love to know why. Is it about their practice habits? Is it about how hard they go
Strength
on
and
Thursdays?
conditioning unit? Team?
They've changed those people out.
Oh.
I mean, it's not, they've changed out their medical staff. They've changed their approach. They've changed their practice habits. They haven't been able to kind of figure out the reason. I don't know that there is a reason. It might just be bad luck. I don't know, but it seems like and that's just beyond. It seems like the 49ers have been one of the most injured teams consistently. Was it 2 years ago? They were historically
It was
injured.
terrible, bad luck. Or do you like I was saying?
I would say it's bad luck, but other people would point fingers and say, no, it's not about bad luck. It's about training methods and how hard you go during the week and blah blah blah. I don't know what it is.
All right.
I mean, somebody smarter than me is gonna have to figure.
So
that
if
out.
you were walking up to the window to place a wager for all the diehard Niner fans out there, Larry, you've already come to terms with 85's not going to be out there.
I'm not expecting him out there.
Okay.
I mean, let's just say this: in practice yesterday, they weren't even having him move. I mean, he was turning and catching the football, but he wasn't running the route. So I just think because it's the Bears, because it's early in the year, because George is so vital to what they do, and the schedule gets tougher after this, I just think they're going to hold him out. That'll be my guess.
Let's pull the curtain back. So Sunday, I'm going to get up, I'm going to ask the wife, I ask her, hey, can I get some Jimmy Dean hot sausage, some hash browns?
We got to convert you, man. You got to go New York style Italian sausage.
You got it. All right, I'll get that. You give me the name, or you just told me, I'll remember it, and that's what we're trying. Nothing better than Jimmy Dean, though, Larry. Anyway, I'm gonna turn on 95.7 The Game for the pregame show. It's you and Lowell O'Neal, who should be in the Hall of Fame. Tell us about that.
Oh my God! Well, we on Labor Day we got together and we did.
You guys sounded great.
Oh, thank you, man. That was fun. And Lowe is just Lowe's. I'll say right now,
one of a kind.
Lowe, I mean, he's one of a kind on the air for sure, but he is, if you know your NFL football, probably the best blocking fullback in the history of the league.
Why the NFL
think about that.
Doesn't reward that position or guys like what he's done, Allstott and all the great. How is he not in the Hall of Fame? That's another story for another day, but it's criminal. It's criminal.
Yeah, there's no question. 11 years in a row, he blocked for 1,000-yard rush.
Damn.
And, Lowe's an incredible blocker. I mean, he's right. Think of the greatest fullbacks of all time. Tom Rathman or Daryl Moose Johnson,
Gash. Yeah.
Sam Gash, whoever you got. I love Bar None when he was a Niner. I was a Bar None guy. They're all. I mean, Low Neal's right there with all of them.
And LT had Lowe introduce him at his Hall of Fame induction, and to me, that means something. LT's telling you. This dude was a big part of me getting these yards, but we could be here to 4:00. We won't, Larry, about how Lowe can't get that recognition or the fullbacks just in general. And I know they say, what was it? Zonka was a fullback, but he was the
Jim
featured
Brown.
back. You know what? We're talking about guys you just named.
Yeah. I mean,
they put their life on the line, basically.
Yeah. I mean, Lowe was as good a blocking fullback. I mean, ask Corey Dillon, ask Tomlinson, ask Eddie George, ask the guys who he paid tolls for. And Lowe had the wrestling background too. We talked a little bit about that.
Yeah,
Moore High School, Fresno State. He used to be able to do the splits, but now I think he's a phenomenal analyst. And we're going to get it going an hour before kickoff on Sunday. I've been down at Niner camp for basically almost the last month off and on. I was down there 2 days this week, sat down with a number of different players.
Oh, that's dope.
We'll bring some of those interviews to the table for the very first time. And I'm looking forward to it. And then there's one thing that came up getting ready for Bears Niners when I was talking to a former NFL GM that we had on the show this week. And he basically made a point about Jimmy Garoppolo and Lance that makes me concerned about the relationship of Jimmy and Trey and how combustible that could be. We'll get to that later on.
That's what our guy Chris Townsend, that's what you call a tease, people.
Yeah.
Now, let me read this to you. You tell me what you think, because There's no other coach I hold in higher regard than Bill Walsh. And from the 510, it says, Larry, remember Bill Walsh was well known for keeping practices light. He had very few injuries. I know the game was different, but we could throw that out the window. Anything to that?
That's, you know what? That is an incredible point, 510, and it's true. I mean, think about the 40. If you're a Niner fan, think of the Super Bowl run any year, 81, 84, 88, 89, 94. What didn't you have? You didn't have future Hall of Famers in civvies on the sidelines in the playoffs because everybody was healthy. Everybody was healthy come playoff time. How is that? Well, they did a lot of walkthroughs. You know, when everybody was banging heads doing two-a-days, they weren't. When people were doing the Oklahoma drill, Walsh wasn't doing that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I don't know how the Niner practices measure up with physicality compared to the other practices around the league. But Walsh definitely understood the need to preserve your players. And if I were Shanahan, I'd really consider doing what McVay has done for the last 3 or 4 years. Don't play your guys at all.
I get
in
it.
The preseason.
I understand.
And then you trade week 1. They're rusty. Rams look rusty, right?
They did.
Trade that rust for full availability because once your guys go down, you're done.
And you know what, Larry? So many of these great athletes, dude, not just the NFL. We see it MLB, NBA. Some guys just have the knack not to be able to stay healthy, available, and they're robbed of their career. And a lot of times I think as fans, I think we take it for granted, but there's a science when you look at the Derek Jeters, the Jordans, the Montanas, the Rice, the T.O.s, the ability to stay available, and it can derail your season. And here we are talking ad nauseum. I am waiting for week 1. Trey Lance this, Jimmy that, Kyle, and out of nowhere, report on Wednesday, Kittle's nursing, a growing injury, and now he may not be available. Now, they may go win by 30. I'm not panicked, but it bothers me, just the football guy in me. It bothers me that Trey Lance won't be able to, if he's not playing, to work on that rapport, and then that's something that kind of follows you throughout the whole season. We're on week 5 now. Man, where's Kittle at? But they really haven't had a chance to develop that rapport because one of the players, in this instance, Kittle, is not available and he's hurt.
Yeah. And then you ask yourself, well, what could you do to prevent it? And I would say it starts with your personnel department. And, Trent Baalke drafted a lot of guys who already had pre-existing injuries, right? Marcus Lattimore and you name it. I mean, he loved these guys who had major problems before they ever got here. Physically, he thought he was getting value. I think ultimately, if you're trying to look for one thing you can do, draft guys who play. In other words, if a guy gets hurt, you don't have any guarantees of anything. If you're going to hedge, draft college players who played all the games, not who sat out full seasons, who lost tons of injuries, but tons of games to injuries. But like Bosa, was hurt a lot at Ohio State. Would you have passed on him because he wasn't healthy at Ohio State? So it's hard to really say.
You know what? You teased it, and when we get back, we're going to pay some bills, Larry. I want to hear about that relationship and your sources. But first, charging a cell phone could be like getting a booster shot. A booster is given to enhance or restore protection after a primary series vaccination, which wanes over time. Schedule appointment when you're eligible. It's Willard and Dibs right here on 95.7 The Game.
Niner fans, 8:30 Monday morning, you gotta be there. 49er legend Jerry Rice comes in to break down Niners Bears at Soldier Field. Check it out at 8:30 on 95.7 The Game.
You put it in your mouth and you chew it up real good.
I know how to chew gum, Dad.
Hurry up, we got leaks to fix.
What are you two up to?
We're fixing our leaky pipes.
Yeah.
With gum?
Yeah, it's a hack, Mom.
A what?
A hack. A do-it-yourself trick.
No, the trick to fixing leaks and low water pressure is calling repipe specialists.
You mean professionals?
I mean, repipe specialists can repipe our whole house in 1 to 2 days. Fix the leaks and low water pressure, repair the holes in the walls if we want, and they guarantee their work for life.
Got leaks or low water pressure? Call the professionals at Repipe Specialists, and in 1 to 2 days, they can repipe your whole house with new PEX tubing. With over 60,000 repipes completed, that's their specialty.
You really stepped in it.
I was just being...
The gum, Dad. You
What?
stepped in the gum.
Oh, great.
Call 800-217-1636 for a free in-home estimate. and ask about their 0% financing options. That's 800-217-1636. Call today, 800-217-1636, or visit repipe.com.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years, like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models? Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
At Left Coast Buyers, we buy properties all over California. If you own a house or an apartment building and want to sell it fast at a great price, call us at 925-434-5000. We can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. We buy properties in any condition, any price range. Do you own a property that is run down and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Are you out of time, money, and energy? Are you looking for an easy way to get top dollar for your property and sell on your terms and timeline? Well, call Left Coast Buyers now at 925-434-5000. We buy divorce houses, inherited houses. We even buy vacant houses and abandoned houses. Do you have a tenant who hasn't paid? Are you behind on property taxes, mortgage payments, or even facing a foreclosure? Even if you're just nervous about capital gains or an upcoming recession, we've seen it all. So if you or someone you know owns a property and needs to sell, call Left Coast Buyers at 925-434-5000. That's 925-434-5000.
This is your time to cash in at Cash Creek Casino Resort. To rock and to roll over the hills and bluffs. Go all out or go all in. With 4 stars and rising stars, now we do more than ever, so you can do as much or as little as you want. It's your time to cash in at Cash Creek Casino Resort.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Heard my little sis is buying a car.
Already used Capital One Auto Navigator. I found my car online and got pre-qualified instantly.
Okay.
Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/auto navigator.
Much cooler in Hayward. For today, a high of 84.
Brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Your neighborhood Ashley store has all the styles, selection, and value you'll need to invite fall in this season. Find furniture you'll love by shopping locally or visit ashley.com today.
Now, back to Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
No, Willard and Dibs is Guru and Larry Krueger, and I'm so juiced, man. We got football. We got Niners in the Chi-Town. We got 3 more hours of you and I getting down. Eric Crocker from Locked On 49ers podcast coming up at 11:30. And I don't know if you looked at this list Bonte Hill, our own Bonte Hill has up there right behind you, Larry. And it's a list that I'm on, and I'm pretty pissed off that I made it because the list consists of people that said young Trey Lance, I call him 5, won't pan out or panic.
He made a list.
Yeah, they did it this morning, and I'm driving. Awesome. Steiny was on there, and I'm grinning ear to ear like, yeah, get him, guys.
I better not be on there.
And then they said, no, you didn't make it.
No.
You know what? We might have to double check. I need glasses.
I'm a believer in Trey.
But my whole thing is it's not Trey who I'm looking at. I'm rooting for Trey. I wanted Trey last year. I wanted him to get his feet wet and get Jimmy out of here because I believe in Kyle. But now, people, I don't believe in Kyle as much, especially after that NFC Championship game. And I'm looking at the tea leaves and connecting the dots and Jimmy coming back. And all I'm saying to people, Larry, I'm not being negative. I'm not going inquirer. I'm telling you is I now have put it in my mind that what if the kid is not ready right away and you don't get to the offs or you're not a player because the Niners have expectations and rightfully so. So now I have told myself, hey, Goo, what if this is on Kyle to get the kid ready? This kid may take 3 or 4 years. That's fine. But Kyle, you better not have this team go the other way until then, because to me, in my world, Mr. Krueger, that means the window is closed. Tomorrow is not promised. So take my name, guys, off that list because I'm rooting for Trey, but I'm a little worried about what I'm seeing and hearing. How about that?
Okay. I mean, seeing and hearing from people who are watching practice, right? You're not talking about what you saw in the game. You're talking about people that were watching practice. I mean, think about that. Think about that, Goo. You're not talking about...
You were one of them.
I know, but you're going on people who are watching practice.
Wow.
All right? Well, Allen Iverson told us about practice. It's practice. All right? You practice things. I don't care about interceptions in practice.
We in here talking about practice.
That is great.
It's practice.
Yeah.
Why are we putting so much credence in practice?
But the jump that you're asking this kid to make, and I'm not saying he can't do it with flying colors, the world's watching.
I know.
Okay, that's all, Larry. We can't ignore that. That's all, man.
First of all, there's no guarantee he's going to get it done this year. He may not.
Right.
And And if he doesn't get it done this year,
he's not a bust.
There's going to be people that are screaming that he is a bust.
Just like they're doing in Chicago with Fields.
Right.
Just like they're doing in Jacksonville with Lawrence.
Well, Lawrence is, I guess, improved. Fields doesn't have a surrounding cast. Lance is on the other end of the spectrum. He's got an incredible surrounding cast, so the expectations are there. But the Niners took a raw quarterback, and they knew he was raw. And now they're finding out how raw he is. I think he's going to be fine, to be honest. But if he's not fine in year one, is it shocking? No. He played at the FCS level. He barely played. He didn't play last year. It takes a little while to get into a rhythm, and you're not just going to have it, boom, just because you want to be in rhythm doesn't mean you're just going to be in rhythm. It could take time, but it doesn't mean that he's a bust.
No doubt about it. And I said that.
We're going to have to show patience here.
Yeah.
Something that sports radio, we don't like to do. Nobody shows any patience. We're all about now.
And that's this new world. Social media is a big part of it. And you know what, Larry? You know what I want to do, you and I want to throw it out to the fans. What are the 49er fans' final thoughts about this season before it actually gets underway in Chicago? Because, we're such a part of this on an everyday basis. We react to what we hear, the reports. Is he ready? Is he not ready? Debo, is he going to get traded or not? And thankfully he didn't. But it's been a roller coaster since that game in Los Angeles for Niner fans. And Larry, I want to hear from them. 888-957-9570. Your final thoughts before the season kicks off this Sunday in Chicago. And I'll ask you that. You start us off. What's your big thing outside of Trey?
First of all, I'm all in on Trey. I know he's going to get there. It may not be this year, but I know he's going to get there. When I say get there, I think someday he's going to be a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. He's going to be a top tier guy. He is going to get there. It may not happen in September, and it may not happen this year. And that's why I do understand why they brought Jimmy back. As far as the Niners, they're missing some key guys. Jimmy Ward is probably not going to play. He's probably the key guy on the defense outside of Bosa up front. Jimmy Ward on the back end is the key guy.
I asked you who was filling in for him. I thought you said who.
Afonga's going to play strong.
Okay, gotcha.
And I think you're going to see either Odom or Tarvarius at free. to start the year. But those guys aren't Jimmy Ward.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's a major step back. You're not going to have Kittle. But I guess my big concern with the 49ers, I don't have a lot of them because I think they're really, really good. The defense has got, they're loaded in the back end now, I think, with Charvarius, Jimmy, Hufanga, Mosley, Womack.
Yeah.
Man, that's a nice secondary. It really is. But it's going to take a little time. They got a deep defensive front. They got the best, fastest linebackers in the game. They got a ton of weapons. I'm not as concerned about the interior offensive line as some people. I think it will come together. To me, it's about, can they stop the run up the gut?
I hadn't heard that.
Teams are going to challenge them.
Okay.
They didn't challenge them with DJ Jones. They are going to challenge them with Javon Kinlaw. Can they block the run? Basically just down their throat. Can they absolutely say, no, we're shutting that off? That's my big concern on defense. My big concern on offense is really just, turnovers. Because they've got field stretchers. They got guys who can really make big plays. And it's just, to me, it's about turnovers. Turnovers and Trey, not trying to make every play. If your interior lets a guy through and it's jailbreak on you, get onto the next snap. Don't try to,
live another down. Huh?
Exactly. Heck, you see Brady do it. You've seen Breeze do it. You've seen Rodgers do it. These guys, you don't play 20 years in the NFL because you take on linebackers.
He's Larry Krueger. I'm Daryl the Guru Johnson, holding it down for Willard and Dibs. Let's go out to San Francisco and welcome Patrick to the show. Patrick, your thoughts on the season, buddy?
What's up, man?
We lost him.
There we go.
Sound like traffic. He's probably on the bridge. Let's go out to Redwood City and welcome Lance to the Rail to the program. My bad. What's up, Rail?
Hey, how you doing, man? This is Uriel from Redwood City. I just wanted to say real quickly, hey, you know what? This is enough negativity talk about Trey. We traded a lot of picks for this guy. He's going to be the future of our team. Jimmy G, he just couldn't do it. We had, 5 years of Jimmy? He just can't get over that hump. And I do believe in Kyle Shanahan. I think that this is the future, and we need to go in with more support for our future quarterback. And that's all I got, fellas. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Do you feel like Trey's not getting the support?
Well, I'll say this: he definitely gets it in the room.
Okay, that's all. That's all that counts.
He's one of the guys. He fits in great. He's not a rah-rah leader, but he's a leader. He's definitely one of the leaders on the team.
Did you make a big deal before we get to this next call about not his? He wasn't a captain. And I love the fact that the players voted, Larry. This is a young guy that's learning from that list was like the 27 Yankees. Those were, veterans, studs. JD and I went back and forth, Frazier and Ali, about he expected him. He should be a captain. I'm like, he's a rookie. He's got to earn it. I had no problem with him not being, quote unquote, one of the guys that Kyle read off the list.
This is where sports radio is just miserable. Seriously, this is where sports radio is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
If he had been named a captain, what would the reaction have been on this station and every other station?
I wouldn't have cared.
Well, no, they would have said, "Oh, they're just doing that." Come on, he's
scholarship.
He's 22. Yeah. Of course, they're just trying to force him as a captain. I mean, come on, he's not really a captain. The reality is that Trey Lance is a great quarterback prospect. Right? Yeah. He's not a player yet. He's a prospect.
Yeah.
You're not a player till you play. You're a prospect.
Hello.
You're a prospect until he's a prospect. He's trying to carve out an NFL career. He's barely played at this level ever. And he's 22.
Right,
and he walked into one of the NFL's deepest and most veteran-laden Super Bowl contenders inside their window. It would have been crazy to make him the captain. And those other guys, those young quarterbacks in other places that were named captain,
they didn't have any.
Those are rebuilding teams. Those are teams that are starting from the ground up. They got no veterans. They got no veteran leadership. They're hoping they're 20.
JD, I love you. He's in Chicago. But if you're listening,
I heard him yesterday.
I just couldn't believe it. And that's my guy. He's so reserved. He doesn't do that. No, but he was like, no.
I love JD, but JD's wrong. Guys do not follow.
We love you, JD.
Guys do not follow a guy because he's got a C on his uniform. Okay, that's not why they follow him.
26 or 28 other cities, which I didn't give a damn about. The quarterback was a captain.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
This guy's 22. He's 22 years old.
I get it, Larry. I like it.
His job is to carve out a career. He has no job. He has not established himself in the NFL. Let him establish himself first.
I appreciate
Once he establishes himself, he gets some wins under his belt, puts some pelts on the wall, plays through a couple injuries, does some things that guys say, you know what? We're going to follow him. They're going to follow him because of who he is, not because of a little C on the uniform.
Yeah. And my pops Norman would say, son, let him earn it. I asked, we threw it out there, Larry, to all the people out there, the fans, YouTubers, and Twitchers, your biggest concern, a question mark for the Niners before the season starts. And we got Jim from Redwood City. What's up, Jim?
Great to see you. And what a awesome combo this is. Love you, Larry, with your insight in the game. And Goo, you are just the man. You're the hype man. You are the energy guy of the energizer bunny of the station. So awesome combo. My chief concern is the offensive line. I mean, I have nightmares about that, so they really got to work on that. But boy, Larry, you really brought up a great point about that. We're all getting worried about Trey and everything because of practice, not a real game. I can't wait until after Sunday. Then we can talk about the real deal. They say that Montana back in the day wasn't so impressive in practice. He wasn't a great practice guy. But then, of course, when the lights were on and it was game time, we all know how he could crank it up a notch. So, who knows? We don't know anything about Trey yet in the pro game. We'll see. And then one last thing, I just want to talk about the Rams game real quick, and then I'll get out.
Yeah.
What a thing of beauty last night for Niner fans. That was so great. I was cheering the whole way. And I love that they got 7 sacks on Stafford with no blitzes, not any blitzes the whole way, and the way that they just swallowed up Donald with double teams and stuff, and he was pretty much a non-factor. And Buffalo reminds me of one of those juggernaut teams from the 80s that was just dominant on both sides of the ball and smothered teams. They just destroyed teams, and that's what this Buffalo's got the look, my friend. They look like the most balanced team, and Allen is freaking Superman out there, right? I mean, head first every time he scrambles. That could be his undoing, I think, perhaps. That might catch up to him, but he's young and he's big and he's strong. Very exciting to watch. I can't wait to hopefully meet him in the Super Bowl, like you were saying, Larry. That would be a fantastic game.
No question. That's my biggest fear.
Appreciate the call.
Is it Buffalo and then everybody else? Because I agree with that caller.
It doesn't work like that, Larry. They lost to the Chiefs in 13. I get it, and I know what everybody.
They're better than they were a year ago. The Chiefs lost Tyreek Hill.
Okay. No,
the
I
Chiefs
agree
went
with
the
you
other
there.
way.
All right.
Buffalo added to their mix. I agree with that last caller. He said it right. Buffalo looks like those teams from the 80s that you just sit back and go, uh-oh, it looks like it's their year.
Man.
85 Bears, 86
The Rams
Giants,
had 52 rushing yards.
Redskins.
I mean,
know.
Von
Totally.
Miller, I apologize. My buddy Reggie, I was telling him, Von Miller's done. I thought he just got to L.A. last year. Oh, he was a big part of it, Larry, but
he was.
Dallas is probably kicking himself in the ass. They had it like he was going to take a pay cut to go to play with Dallas and whatever. They botched it, but he looked at home, and he was a part of the dudes coming after Stafford's neck, but gosh.
People ask the question like, hey, what if the Niners hadn't had Jimmy and they had used the cap room, who would you have wanted them to sign? Von freaking Miller.
Man,
I wanted them to sign Von freaking Miller. Could you imagine if Von Miller was opposite Bosa?
That's what Bosa needs. Like just a little,
Maybe
just
Drake
a little bit of
Jackson's
help.
that guy, but we'll see.
Kinlaw can kick up some dust, right?
Oh, Kinlaw.
But he's got to stay healthy.
He's got to
like
stay
everybody. But that's the thing for him.
Big question for him.
Dudes are so big, and they look like Lou Ferrigno. But the gridiron, I got to tell you, Larry. I mean, things happen, and once you get one injury, 2 injuries, then they're trying to put you back together. And some dudes just can't stay healthy, and that's why the Kittle whole thing. I hope you're wrong, but I think you're like 99.2% right. He didn't practice yesterday, Larry. I don't think he's going. And why would you risk it in week 1, right?
Against the Bears. A team that won 6 games last year and is lost to Akeem Hicks, lost Khalil Mack.
Right.
They got 3 young secondary players. They got a crappy offensive line. The Niner O-line struggling, the Bears O-line struggling worse. They have no
I can
real
see them. I said this yesterday. The Niners defense keeping them out the end zone.
They just lost Allen Robinson. And the Bears, come on. If you're gonna,
Stafford didn't use him yesterday, Larry.
What
happened?
I know. I thought I was telling people for the last month, man, Allen Robinson in LA is going to go off looking like an idiot.
Yeah, but it's one game, Larry. I'll tell you what, we'll pay some bills. The phone lines are packed. We'll answer your calls when we get back. Guru and Larry in for Willard and Dibs right here on 95.7 The Game.
Shanahan, John Lynch, they felt like it was time to just give him complete control. Now it's up to Trey Lance to go out there and prove to everybody that, hey, look, I really deserve this starting job, and I'm going to lead my team.
Jerry Rice, Monday morning at 8:30 on 95.7 The Game.
Everyone knows how beneficial therapy can be, but traditional therapy can be overwhelming, confusing, and inconvenient. When scheduling in-person therapy, it can be difficult to find the right therapist near you, and it can take weeks to get on their calendar. We knew there had to be a better way, and that's where BetterHelp began. I'm Danny, co-founder of BetterHelp Online Therapy. When Alana and I started BetterHelp in 2013, our mission was simple: find a way to make professional therapy accessible, affordable, and convenient for everyone. BetterHelp works around your schedule and lifestyle. You can connect to a therapist by phone, video call, or even text message. You don't even have to turn on your camera if you don't feel comfortable. And if your therapist isn't the right fit, you can switch anytime with a click of a button, because BetterHelp is designed with you in mind. See why over 2 million members have trusted BetterHelp for online therapy. Go to betterhelp.com/youfirst and get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/youfirst for 10% off your first month.
Attention veterans, if you were stationed at Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you and your family may be victims of toxic water poisoning. You could be awarded financial compensation for your suffering. Cancers, birth defects, deadly illnesses have all been linked to the contaminated water. Congress is now holding the government accountable, but you must act now. Get your free case review. Call True Law at 877-560-8555, 877-560-8555, or visit sickvets.com. That's sickvets.com.
Have you ever hired a commercial painting company, then been stuck managing your own project? Hi, this is Matt Jesse, president of MB Jesse Painting. We know how busy you are and that you need professional painters who are actually professionals. My team has the experience, training, and credentials to get the job done. If you've been waiting for the right time to paint, this is it. Call 855-MB-JESSE today or visit us online at mbjesse.com.
MB Jesse. Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately. Like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box. All for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New gigabit extra internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes wireless usage. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible Xfinity gateway.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Are you tired of being tracked online? There's a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more. All for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with the push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Come into Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill September 23rd through September 25th
for their fall clearance sale event. Take advantage of factory direct prices, one-of-a-kind opportunities, special pricing on floor models, and convenient financing. And save on new appliances from trusted brands like Miele, Bosch, Electrolux, LG, and Maytag. Visit Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill for their fall clearance sale event, September 23rd through September 25th, for the best time to save on new appliances for your home.
Ever since I got the new Galaxy Z Flip 4, I've been learning all these new tricks with my dog Finn. Like how to take the best selfies at the park. I just set my phone down, put it in flex mode, and capture hands-free pics from multiple angles. Aww. Or how to capture our training sessions for his followers. I simply wave my hand to start recording video. Good boy! Plus, the Z Flip 4 is compact and fits perfectly in my pocket.
Wow. Visit Samsung.com today to get the new Galaxy Z Flip 4.
Some fans gear up for game day, but some fans follow their team every day. That's why the Locked On Podcast Network has a daily podcast for your favorite NFL team. Every trade, every overtime win, every game. Our local experts cover the biggest stories around your team every day. Search Locked On plus your favorite NFL team on the Odyssey app or wherever you get podcasts. The Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMC FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Damn it.
Now, back to Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
When you're happy and you know it, in San Diego, there's no limit to how you can show it. Endless sunshine, coastline, and outdoor adventures inspire waves of feel-good vibes. Plan your trip today at sandiego.org. It's Friday. I'm fired up, and, you know, I love the guys that I work with, my teammates. The phone lines are jammed. We're going to get to the calls, but I'm going to pull the curtain back. I had Southwest, you want to get away moment last segment, and you guys had my back. Nobody said anything, but I'm the guy, Larry.
You're driving.
When I spilled the drink, I spilled the drink, so you guys didn't come down my road. I appreciate it, but I had to bring it up. We're back, Jack.
I'm surprised Matt didn't come in here and say,
I was waiting on
Guru, you sit in the back seat from now on.
Look. But listen, if you do come in here, boss, bring some damn air. Are you hot? I'm hot.
It's hot.
I've been going to the gym a little bit, Larry. I'm hot. It's right, a little
now,
sweaty.
What do you do at the gym? Are you free weights? Are you Nautilus weights? Are you hit the steam?
I go put on 245s, 4 plates on each side, 245s, and I feel like
you go 2 1/4.
Yeah,
you're
like a 50-year-old man.
It's like the combine.
Yeah, 50-year-old man, and I put my legs on the bench up in the air, prison style, because I feel like I read it online. It doesn't help you get any stronger, but I get better balance. 3 sets of 10. I'll do the dips. I'll do the elliptical, and I'll do the little where you work on your love handles. 3 sets of 10. Obliques. And then I'll get on the elliptical. I'll do some curls. And Larry, I got to be honest. I saw some games.
You work your tries.
Yeah, I do all that. The back.
You're talking about curls.
I'm gonna film it and send it to you. Yeah, I do the curls, the tries, and the where you do the incline, so you get your little the lats, the Batman.
Yeah.
And before we went on vacation here at the gym, blood's flowing and you look better. And I went to Vegas, had a tank top on, and I looked in the mirror. look better in the gym. But anyway, we're back.
Sun's out, guns out.
You got a tease I want to get to about your source or somebody you were talking to in the know about Jimmy-Trey. But before we do that, Larry, let's go get Patrick. He's been hanging on patiently. What's up, Patrick?
Hey, guys, can you hear me better this time?
Yeah, we got you. What's going on, man?
All right, cool. Hey, the conversation about Trey and the Niners is getting a little heated, so I'll bring it back to the point about Damon and whether it's ever acceptable.
Oh, wow.
For Damon to disavow the Bears?
Yeah, exactly. And so I just have 2 words for you, and that's my example is John Fisher. And as a lifelong A's fan, I don't know that I'm at the abandonment stage, but I definitely consider myself a fan in exile. And I mean, I used to be the guy who was like, you never abandon your team, never. But at what point is enough enough? Is enough enough?
No, A's fans have every right.
You get an injunction there.
Well, seriously, your team has been held hostage by a billionaire crying poor.
No doubt about it.
It's like maybe the most loathsome thing in our society.
The worst
is the billionaire crying poor, waiting for the civic dollars to bail them out. I mean, seriously.
If Damon was an A's fan, I'd give him the stamp of approval. Like, you want to leave? We'll see you later. So
absolutely,
that one you get an injunction on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I can you imagine if they announced at 5 minutes from now that Joe Lacob had bought the Golden State Warriors? I mean, he bought the A's.
I get goosebumps.
It would be like the team. I mean, if you were a fan of the team, it would be like. I mean, it would be the greatest news of all time because you would go from suddenly irrelevant on your way to Vegas and this terrible story to, oh my God,
it's incredible.
We're back
man.
in it. We're back in the
Somebody
game.
they take pride in it, Larry.
Yeah, seriously.
The only thing I don't like doing that for
freaking team
is, Larry, I'm watching a lot of Real Housewives or whatever because my wife, she's just the quietest gal, but now that's all the DVR is full of, and I think it's poisoning her thought process and how she views life. I say this to her.
Housewives of what?
You just whatever one, Russia, whatever one's on, she's got it taped now.
And
I'm like,
DVR-ing?
what are we doing? DVR, Larry.
Over college football and pro football?
Yes,
I mean,
but the reason
you're losing football games.
Oh, no, I don't lose. We got multiple
DVR.
TVs in the lab, so I'm in a whole nother part of the house. The reason I bring that up about Joe Lacob and what if is I sometimes wonder, what if she said, what if I would have married this guy in her past? And then I get a little somber, I hope she's not saying that, but I'm not the one that got away. So when I think about people saying, "Oh, I wish that guy owned my team," I go back. I default to that.
You really
I need to talk to somebody else. Oh
you got to do a few more reps, dude.
You're right.
You got to.
So I'm trying to tell you something without telling you. I don't know.
Why don't you go?
Where did that come? What does that mean?
Go for 275.
Okay.
Stop messing around with 225.
All right, I'll tell you what.
Throw a quarter on each side and go big. Go big.
I'll do that, and we'll also go out to Portland and welcome Rob to the program. Rob, what are your thoughts on the season, Rob? Oh, man.
I got 2 thoughts. First of all, I'm listening to y'all live on the free Odyssey app.
There you go.
Nice. There you go.
Out there. The second is, so when the quarterback coming to the sidelines, who's he talking to? His backup, right? They're looking at the pictures. They're talking about what he missed. Who better to talk with Trey than Jimmy Garoppolo? The man has been in the system. He's going to play his part. He's a professional. Everyone talks about how good of a person he is. So that's going to be the best thing for the team and for Trey to have Jimmy right there on the sidelines coaching him up. The last thing is going to be
possibly
wants that young quarterback. Everyone's talking about that young guy. We got to go to the young guy. Well, it's all fun and games until you got to go through the young guy growing pains. So we all need to just chill out, be patient with Trey. We got a good team around him. Just support the team and let's go.
Exactly. Wow. Exactly. We don't go to the the birthing center at John Muir and Walnut Creek and start heckling.
I just thought of dibs. Congrats to the dibs
start heckling these kids. Start heckling these newborns.
Yeah.
You haven't done crap.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
Whoa.
You're never gonna make
You're
it.
scaring me, Larry. Right.
Seriously, we don't do that.
Get them out of here. Yeah.
When we brought, I've got 4 kids. When we brought my 3rd child home.
Boy or girl?
My family goes girl, boy, boy, boy.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
So I brought home my 3rd child from the hospital. His name was Benjamin. Right?
Okay.
My 2nd son is probably only 4 years old at the time. Right. And he didn't want to be real jealous, but he was kind of jealous. Right. And so I'm holding the newborn, and he looks at him. I go, "Hey, Kev, what do you think of your new baby brother?" And he's like, put him on the ground and let's see him crawl.
Whoa.
And he was a newborn.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? You got to give him some time. You know, it's not going to.
But the 4-year-old had the natural mechanism of things are going to change around here.
I know, but he's like, put him on the floor and see if he can crawl. Let's see if he can crawl. He can't even crawl. Like, and that's where we're at with Trey. All these people are like, oh my God. You know, you think you're saying he's good? Let's see him win games and be awesome. Let's pump the brakes. Let's have reasonable expectations. Right. There's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be turnovers. There's going to be issues.
The same stuff we lived through with Jimmy, right?
There's nobody. I can't think of any quarterback, not Brady, not Montana, not Bradshaw, none of the greatest quarterbacks, not Mahomes. Nobody hit the ground and was just, I guess Mahomes, I guess you could argue in year 2, did hit the ground and was running. But for the most part, you don't see quarterbacks hit the ground in the NFL and just immediate shot to stardom. There's a process involved.
I'm gonna throw a question at you before I get to the phone lines here. And you said it when you talked about Lawrence and Fields, those teams didn't have the big stakes that the Niners have. So as a competitor, Larry, if you're Trey Lance, do you want to go where if you mess up and throw 4 picks in Jacksonville last year, it's no big deal? Because you know what? They weren't going to win anyway. If same thing in Chicago, those teams were terrible. And I'm not going to say I feel football bad for Trey, but one of the storylines and what makes this fascinating is as he goes through his NFL quarterback puberty, his mistakes are not going to be like those other guys, right? Because it was loser central. No harm, no foul. The Niners have a window. They've been to the Super Bowl. They've been to the NFC just last January. Our state, Jashasky Bonte, they were down there. JD, they almost went to the Super Bowl. So to me, just to speak of that dynamic, and if this guy doesn't have, and I call this an uncanny ability that Jimmy had when he messed up, Larry, he could come right back. And he amazed me in that. Like,
very resilient.
I was like, it's over. This dude went into the booth, as crazy as that sounds. Does Trey have that? And if he doesn't have that, then does that equate to a win that Jimmy would have had or a loss? We're going to all watch it play out, but it is added pressure on the kid. And I don't think it's a bad thing or people think I'm trolling when I say that.
No, it's just different. I mean, it's a trade-off. Those teams that you're talking about, Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, yeah, they were afforded more rookie mistakes because they were on teams that weren't going anywhere. The trade-off is those guys didn't have Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, Mitchell, Trent Williams, Bosa, a killer defense, Kyle. Trey's surrounded by a lot more talent. Are the expectations higher because of that talent? Hell yes. But he's also, I think if you asked him, I don't think he would rather be somewhere else. I think he's got his eyes open. He knows what the score. He knows the situation. He's not running from it, and I think it's going to work out. But you're right. It's a different situation. He's not going to be afforded the luxury that those other guys were. He's already being scrutinized more than they've been because the 49ers are in their Super Bowl window. But I mentioned before to you that
pay this off.
Well, I had Randy Mueller, the former GM of the Dolphins and Saints, on the YouTube channel this week, and we were talking a lot about Jimmy and Trey, and he said, you know, I was saying how a lot of the dialogue is about Jimmy saying, hey, I'm happy to be here. Familiarity is what brought me back. And that Trey's been like, Jimmy's like a big brother to me. And he's like, that's a key relationship to watch. And it may be a key thing for the 49ers because the way he was reading it, Randy Mueller, is that Jimmy really isn't all about Trey's success, that Jimmy chose to come back to the Niners because he feels like he can get on the field for the 49ers. So in a way, it's like it's not just about familiarity. It's about where can I play? And for Jimmy to come back here, obviously he may feel like Trey's not going to have success and that he's going to get a chance to play and that he's going to get back on the field. And so that dynamic, the relationship between those two quarterbacks, could have a huge impact on things. But I think we're naive if we think that he came back and Jimmy's all about Trey's success. Is he about Trey's success, or did he come back here because he thinks he can play because Trey's going to struggle and there's not going to be a lot of success? We don't really know. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to get the answer to that.
Well, I'll tell you what, Larry.
I think that relationship's going to be fascinating to watch evolve this year.
And you know what? I don't hold either guy accountable. Like, there are fans out here and people that think this is something out of a Disney book. Jimmy Garoppolo, whether you want to believe this or not, people, has skins on the wall. He's prepared. He's quarterbacked. He's played in a Super Bowl, 2 NFC championship games. And for whatever reason, and it's his prerogative, Kyle Shanahan wanted to go in a different direction. And if I'm Garoppolo, who, oh, by the way, people, if you forgot, is human, and in humans, we have this thing called emotion. We have this thing called ego, and it's not a bad thing. It's natural. And for Jimmy to do the I'm bye-bye, he felt bye-bye because he didn't want to be a part or play second fiddle after he was first. So that's why he did that dog and pony show, which was real, Larry, saying bye, it's been a good run, because this is not an ideal situation to watch another man take over his job.
He wants to play.
No, they right.
Do you want to go to a sports talk station and produce?
No,
or do you want to go there and actually be on the air?
I want to be on the air.
Yeah.
And the ones that produce,
and there ain't nothing wrong with that.
Right.
That's what you do. You're on the air.
And the ones that produce, they have the dream, okay, I'll eventually get on, right? That's how it goes. But you asked me in the green room, like, do you think Jimmy came back or was receptive to coming back because he's looking at Trey, not like he's Terry Bradshaw or Joe Montana, and maybe he might not pick it up as fast as everybody thinks? Jimmy can't voice this to anybody, to me, Larry, but his close friends, his best friend, his mom. So he's doing everything PC, but you can't tell me there's not an inferno inside of him. Like, if this kid don't get it, I'll happily put on my helmet and go out there and reclaim my job.
I think coming here,
that's reality.
It's not just about familiarity. It's about, I think I can beat out Trey Lance, or I think I'm going to get an opportunity to play because I think Trey Lance is going to struggle.
But Trey controls it if Trey never gives him that opportunity.
Right. But then this whole kumbaya thing that everybody...
They love each other.
Oh, he's my big bro.
Larry, open my mouth. They're cool, though, Larry. I do believe they're cool. They're cool.
I'm not saying they're professionally fine.
Right.
But they want different things.
Okay.
So ultimately, Trey wants
the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. They want the same thing,
right.
But they want different things. They both, Trey wants Trey to be the starting quarterback. Jimmy, if he took truth serum,
and
he wants to be the starting quarterback.
Wrong with that, man.
So, but what's interesting to me is he could have gone elsewhere and chose to come back. I think it has something to do with preserving his body, so he shows up in free agency next March.
All right,
healthy. But let's be honest, he's a player in his prime. You just said it. He's played in the Super Bowl. He sat for a few years behind Brady. He doesn't want to sit. He wants to play. And the fact that he chose to come back here makes you wonder if in Jimmy's handicapping of the situation or Jimmy's evaluation of Trey, maybe he sees a player that's incredibly raw, that's going to fall on his face, and that he's going to be there to step into the lineup.
And the team may need him. Kyle may need him.
He may view it that way. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying that's not out of the realm of possibility that Jimmy's not all about Trey, that Jimmy's all about Jimmy.
Let's go. No, those are great points. Let's go out to Palo Alto and welcome Brian to the program. What's this B from PA? Let's see. This dude's famous, Larry.
Yeah, the BPA.
Where you been?
Just working on. I wasn't going to call in, but that prior caller called and said that it didn't matter that Trey Lance had been pretty bad in practice, 47% completion percentage in practice, and then said Joe Montana was a terrible practice player. Look, I played football in high school and college. I coached football in high school. I just, when somebody that stupid calls, man, I felt prompted to call. It absolutely matters how you practice. And we don't know what Trey is. I have no prejudgment. He's not proven to be an accurate quarterback in practice, right? Usually that doesn't translate to being super accurate in games. So we're going to find out, but we don't have any idea what kind of player he is. And if he struggles and they win, he'll stay in. If he struggles and they lose, Jimmy's coming in, period. There will be zero slack provided for losses, struggling and losing for Trey. And I think that's why they brought Jimmy back, by the way, because they have doubts about what Trey Lance is going to be able to do this year and maybe next year. So, again, it's common sense, but it absolutely matters what type of practice player you are. And Joe Montana was one of the greatest practice quarterbacks ever.
I'll say this. The one
Thanks for the call, B.
And I agree with what you're saying that it's not like it doesn't matter at all. I mean, I was joking about practice.
But you don't make the Pro Bowl or the playoffs in practice, Larry.
My point is, I mean, I've been at these practices and I'm watching these throws. And is Purdy and Jimmy maybe a little bit more accurate than Trey on some of the throws? Possibly a little bit, but it's not like Trey's wildly inaccurate. Then, I talked to Trent Williams about this, a week ago, and he actually addressed it on the podium. And he's like, you know what? Interceptions in practice, there's a practice script, and the defenses know the script as well. So you can see it's like looking down at a word. You're doing a spelling test, and before you write out each word, you look down at a piece of paper. Well, you know what? You can see how it's spelled by looking at it. And if you know the script, and these defensive players do know the script, then you know what's coming. So the picks in practice, interceptions in practice, it's first of all, this is a really good defense. Second of all, it's practice, and the defense is scripted, and the defense knows the script. So it's virtually impossible to really glean anything meaningful out of interceptions in practice, because you just don't know if the guy who's trying to make the team on the defensive side took an extra step or an early step and broke on the ball because he knew the throw was coming and he knew where it was intended. So, I mean, you just got to remember, it's supposed to mock the game, mock up the game and help you guys, but it doesn't. It's not a true evaluation playground. It just isn't. And that's why there are guys who do well in practice, or there are guys who look great at the combine, and then they get on the football field and they're not nearly as good. So it does matter. When the lights come on, everybody reacts differently.
Do you remember the great? He's a legend to me, Wayne Walker.
Loved him.
And Joe Montana back in that era, DeBerg, and the reason I'm bringing that up is, and I'm dating myself, Larry, is do you think during camp in that era we knew what Montana's completion percentage was? Like Brian knew it, and I know we got the internet, and are people out there charting?
Yes.
That to me, because I don't care if it's Steph Curry, Draymond Green. I will leave. Larry, I love to talk and listen. I will leave the practice conversation because, I'm playing pickup hoops and I'm Larry Bird in warm-ups, and then the game starts and I'm 1-13. It don't matter what you do in practice. I'm not saying not bust your ass, but if we're really bringing that to the table about that's what concerns you about Lance, I'm leaving the table, Larry.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't leave it off.
It's just I mean,
you can look at me and tell that.
I'll just say this. No, any practice stat, I would just say noted and move on. I stood behind Glenn Rice one night at half court in Warrior Heat pregame.
Okay.
When
he could shoot,
I was doing the pregame, and Glenn Rice made 21 threes in a row. All right, now Glenn Rice is a sharpshooter. Right. I mean, and Goo was amazing too. 21 in a row. Never. Didn't move a quarter inch to the left or right.
That's incredible.
He was like the Statue of Liberty, straight up and down. Straight up and down. Now, that was incredible. That was a great player doing it in practice who also does it in the game. But, man, when I hear someone say, hey, Klay Thompson made, 85 threes yesterday, or Steph made 100 in a row.
Larry.
It's like cool, but then
it is cool.
But it's just,
what are we doing? What are you telling me?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like, what?
Right.
And I'm sitting there at practice, and I'll look around and I'll see all the different riders.
Yeah.
And then every throw they're putting down like a little hash mark. They're keeping track. I'm not saying the stats aren't legitimate or that were compiled erroneously. I'm just saying that there's a lot that goes. I've sat in the meetings before practice, and I've seen the coordinator talk to the quarterback about, hey, you know what? Sometimes it's the D coordinator, and he's like, you know what? I got this corner who thinks he's all world out there, and he doesn't even buckle.
Well, there you go.
He doesn't even buckle his chin strap until we get to the team session. So how about this? go at him like 5 times in a row and burn him, the first 5 passes. And now the quarterback is forcing passes to one guy, picking on a DB. And technically, in this world, there's some person sitting there tallying the completion percentage. Well, that right there tells you that there's a factor that has nothing to do with how he sees it, how he goes through his progressions, how he processes it. I mean, none of those things are factors. The factor was the D coordinator said, my rookie corner thinks he's all that in a bag of chips. Go at him early in practice. So, I mean, and I've seen it. Then there's other things about self-scouting and putting things on tape and making people uncomfortable. There's just so many factors that go into the practice. And if everybody really understood how many factors there were, they would throw these stats out and never look at them again.
That was well said. It's dressed. You debunked the myth of like, if that means anything, it's the rough draft. This is what they're doing.
Practice means something, but it's about conditioning and desire, and it's not necessarily.
They don't know what Chicago's coming with. Trey, the offensive coach, Kyle, he don't know what they're coming with. He'll figure it out what he thinks, but yeah, you ain't doing that in practice.
You can glean things out of practice, but the stats part of it is just, I think, futile.
I'm with you. Let's go to San Bruno. Welcome Rob to the program. He has some thoughts on Lance. What's up, Rob?
What's going on, fellas?
Talk to us.
Look, man, JD seems like he's the ultimate Trey Lance hater, man. You know what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there. First off, if we look at the people who made the captains, you look at Armstead and Jimmy Ward. If I told you 5 years ago Armstead and Jimmy Ward be captain of the 49ers teams, y'all would have laughed at us.
Right, because of injuries, right?
Yeah, exactly. So give Trey his time. There's some OGs that been on that field, that been in wars, football wars, and they understand. Like, I think Trey respects those guys that respect him. The players speak very highly of him. I've never seen when they mentioned Jimmy Garoppolo last year, it's about his leadership. When they mention Trey Lance, they mention his leadership and his actual ability. And you can watch some of the games last year. When you watch some of these throws last year, he made some throws that we ain't seen from a quarterback probably ever since like Kaepernick. Even Kaepernick couldn't make some of the throws. It was a throw against Seattle where he threw a laser, a 20 yards straight on the line to Kittle. Kittle couldn't hold on to it. It was a pass against Houston. He threw to the back of the pylon, put it right in between the numbers with Ayuk, but Ayuk had it other handheld. He couldn't get to it. So the dude is special, and he has football instincts. Like, people need to understand it's not going to look like Jimmy Garoppolo and Brian Hoyer. It's not going to be hit there. No, because he don't have to. They have to do that because they don't have the athletic ability or the talent to do other things. It's not going to look always pretty. But with Trey, I just feel like the guy has an arm. He has football instincts. He don't have to be taught that. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo has football instincts because once we got off script, they couldn't get back on script. They got to stay on script. I think Lance plays better when he's off script. He just needs to learn how to play within the offense first, and then when it's playoff time, that's when the script don't matter. Sometimes if you watch the last time we was deep in these runs, we got off script and we got beat, and it just came down to can your players make plays? Stafford made plays last year. Our quarterback didn't. Mahomes may play the Super Bowl. Our quarterback didn't. And that's what it comes down to. And I think in due time, Lance is going to be that guy. And I'm in full support of Lance. And by next year, he will be a team captain. He will earn those guys' respect as he should. You don't just be handed nothing. I'm glad they're making him earn it. That's good.
Yeah.
Guess who's not the captain of their team? James Wiseman. Is James Wiseman a bust with no future because he's not the Warriors captain?
Not at all. You got to earn it. And I like the way the Niners do it.
How is this any different? How's this any different?
It's not. And that's why we're on Rob, all three of us, the trifecta. We all agree. I'm going to say this about Lance and his ability. It's now, Larry, you tell me if this is legit, if you think it is. And I said this to you last time we hooked up. He had last year in the preseason the bomb to Sherfield. He let it go. He had the bomb to Gray against Green Bay. And then in the game that he played here at home against the Texans, he threw it on a rope to Debo. That already tells me, Larry, that he already looks downfield. And that's what this game is about. Not 19-play drives for 3 points. Not that they might not have those, but he already is different than Jimmy. To me, is because he's looking downfield. And I believe you were my guy that said Jimmy 30 yards or more downfield was like 16% in his career.
16%.
That takes the team back. Even if you think you're moving forward, that you ain't scaring nobody just by getting under center. If Trey is that quarterback and that's one of his traits, they're already greater. And maybe you lose something in the completion percentage, but big plays is what it's about in the NFL. And you know who can do that? Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Stafford on a good day, Brady. That's what you do, and that's what the Niners, to their credit, they've almost gotten to the mountaintop without having a quarterback that was his expertise. And I think Trey looks downfield, and that's why I think it excites Kyle and what I'm looking for to start Sunday.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. I mean, I was talking to Dwelly about this yesterday. The addition of
Danny
Danny
start
Gray
Sunday, right?
Yeah, he may start.
Oh,
but I said, what is it like having Danny Gray on this team and having Ray McLeod? And he's talking about space. And that's what it's really about. If you have Trey Lance, you have to defend every blade of grass because he can throw it down the field. He can make moves with his legs. The other thing is I've heard a lot of people say, well, do you really want Trey behind this young line? There may be jailbreak on the quarterback.
I'm watching.
Jimmy Garoppolo has no lateral agility at all. I mean, if Spencer Burford blows a block or Jake Brendel blows a block, Jimmy Garoppolo's down on the turf. Trey Lance has ability to escape and extend plays and keep his eyes posted down the field. The play that you mentioned about Debo, he bought himself extra time. There was penetration in the backfield. Trey scooted out the side door, bought himself an extra 2 or 3 seconds, kept his eyes peeled down the field, found Debo, who had freed himself up, and threw a bomb. And I think you're going to see more of that. I think Danny Gray is going to be a key factor for the 49ers. I know a lot of people don't think so because he's young, but Trey throws a beautiful deep ball, and Gray can get deep basically at will.
And you know who we're going to talk to about it is Eric Crocker, who joins the show at 11:30. He's Locked On 49ers podcast, former NFL defensive back, Stockton native, and that's all brought to you by Chilton Auto Body.
I'm Michael Jenkins, helping you beat the books with BetQL. The Brewers will play 20 of their last 26 games at home as they make a push for an NL wildcard spot, and they get the lowly Reds to start out. Milwaukee has won 6 of their last 7 at home and are 8-4 overall against Cincinnati this season. Nick Lodolo is on the mound for the Reds, and Milwaukee has had success against him in an earlier start this season. With the Reds just playing out the season and the Brewers red hot at home and making a playoff push, the BetQL 5-star play of the day is Milwaukee on the money line.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations so you get the product you're looking for. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Have you been in a car accident? Chilton Auto Body has 15 convenient Bay Area locations to help restore your vehicle to pre-accident condition. Chilton Auto Body is also actively hiring for all positions. For more details, head to ChiltonAutoBody.com. The Bay Area's leader in collision repair.
This football season, adopt a new tradition that's sure to turn fans into family. The Jim Beam Highball. That's beam and soda over ice with a lemon slice. Share one at the stadium or make one at home. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume. Copyright 2022, James B. Beam Distilling Company, Claremont, Kentucky. Drink smart.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep. We have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
O'Reilly. See the road ahead more clearly with Sylvania bulbs and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, purchase select Sylvania bulbs and get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate, plus receive double O-Rewards points. Replace your bulbs today and see better tonight. Let the professional parts people help you find the bulbs you need. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, I'm Aaron, owner of California Deluxe Windows. Ever notice? When your neighbors get new windows, there is a large black eye of broken stucco, uneven plaster, and even mismatched paint. At California Deluxe Windows, we never leave a ring around the window. Why? Because we are one of the only companies in California who custom crafts every window and door to your home's exact measurements. Almost everyone else on the radio is a distributor. They grab a window from a warehouse, break open your walls, shove it in, and patch things up. At California Deluxe Windows, we take pride in our work. Our installation technique is so precise, we do not break your stucco. Your house could be covered with potato chips, and we wouldn't crack one.
Call now, and for a limited time, you get 30% off your entire order and 24 months of interest-free financing. 800-874-3600. 800-874-3600. That's 800-874-3600. California Deluxe Windows. Windows engineered for life.
Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 774518.
Fremont Bank. If there's one thing we understand more than anybody, it's that it takes a local bank to really get the needs of local businesses. Fremont Bank has the flexibility and motivation to service your business loan needs like other banks can't or won't. With our full suite of business loan products and recognition as a top SBA lender in the Bay Area, Fremont Bank is the right choice for local and family-owned businesses. Fremont Bank. Learn more at fremontbank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At Left Coast Buyers, we buy properties all over California. If you own a house or an apartment building and want to sell it fast at a great price, call us at 925-434-5000. We can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. We buy properties in any condition, any price range. Do you own a property that is run down and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Are you out of time, money, and energy? Are you looking for an easy way to get top dollar for your property and sell on your terms and timeline? Well, call Left Coast Buyers now at 925-434-5000. We buy divorce houses, inherited houses. We even buy vacant houses and abandoned houses. Do you have a tenant who hasn't paid? Are you behind on property taxes, mortgage payments, or even facing a foreclosure? Even if you're just nervous about capital gains or an upcoming recession, we've seen it all. So if you or someone you know owns a property and needs to sell, call Left Coast Buyers at 925-434-5000. That's 925-434-5000.
How do you make the most of your land? If you ask the Wrens, who run with us on a John Deere mower, they tell you,
I mow first, then I do all the trimming.
But the Hubbards, who work behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor, would say,
if it's something you want, just go after it and try it.
Then there's the Mosers, who may mention from the seat of their John Deere Gator UTV.
It can't be all work and not play.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. Learn how to make the most of yours at Deere.com. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Remember when you were told bigger is better? Well, that's just simply not the case. Do you want a big bill? No. A big burden? No. What about a big bulky tank water heater taking up space in your basement? No, I didn't think so.
For the line crew and the go-getters, there's Grainger. Supplies and solutions for every industry, plus 24/7 support and over 250 local branches. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
So, what you do want is to make all of those things smaller. Navien tankless water heaters are more efficient.
Here's a song about a brawny paper towel. Stand tall, tear small, and stop the waste. Let's save more towels, it's not too late. From a fish stick to a lipstick to a hand-sized plate. Use a little square, not more. Terra Square paper towels from Brawny.
And take up less space than outdated, bulky tanks with cutting-edge features that improve safety, simplify processes, and increase capabilities. Once you go Navien, you'll never go back. Learn more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Now, back to Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
No Willard and Dibs. It's Guru and my man Larry Krueger holding it down until 12 p.m. I mean, it's football Sunday, week 1. You got the pregame show right here on 95.7 The Game with Lorenzo Neal. But we got a big boy on the airwaves now. It's Eric Crocker. He's from Locked On 49ers podcast, and you also know him as former NFL defensive back and Stockton native. Before we get to it, Eric, I got to ask you, and I told my partner I was going to throw this to you. Could you imagine being a DB now in today's NFL? Because I just feel like it ain't fair, man. It's just not.
Nah, I definitely would have played receiver.
Oh,
and the whole little guys play DBs because they can't catch. You know, that didn't apply to me. So in today's day and age, definitely play receiver. It's almost impossible to be a legit, consistent cornerback.
Now let's talk about week 1 in the Shy. To me, and I told Larry, the O-line concerns me. What's your biggest, what's on your list right now? Your number one thing about this contest? What are you watching, Eric?
I think, obviously it's easy to start with the quarterback position, not knowing exactly what you'll get from Trey Lance. And you guys might hear some background noise. I'm at the airport right now, heading to Chicago. But, probably Trey Lance, and then, you talked about the offensive line, and the offensive line can help him a ton. So, if, that is your biggest worry. If they come out, they play well, I think it'll make it a lot easier for a guy like Trey Lance. There's this kind of that's floating around, and I talked about it on the podcast the other day. But when it comes to rookie quarterbacks, and obviously we got a small sample size for Trey Lance, but rookie quarterback in the NFL with a clean pocket since 2016, according to Next Gen Stats, when they started keeping this stat, Trey Lance has the highest passer rating of any rookie quarterback. Now, again, smaller sample size, but that just shows if you do keep him clean, he can be effective. So I think things go a little haywire when you have to speed up his processing, but a good offensive line, that would definitely help the young quarterback.
I'm so glad we're having you on, Eric, because you're the perfect guy to ask this question to. I saw Greg Cosell kind of said that he felt like that Trey Lance is a hitch in his motion. I've been watching him throw. I don't necessarily call it a pure hitch. It's just like a little, almost like a baseball player has like a starting mechanism with his swing. He's got a little bit of a half circle on his release. You play DB. Is that the kind, and you watched the cut up films when you did play DB. When I say cut up, I'm talking about the quarterback making the throw to the receiver, and the DBs study that. You're studying it for movement. Do you see an issue with the hitch that is going to cause DBs to break early on Trey's throws and maybe lead to interceptions? Do you see anything that's severe?
I think if they're playing, more zone coverage, maybe that's something that you can pick up on. I think ultimately guys like him, it will probably be a little bit more worrisome if he didn't have a strong arm, right? So if you have kind of a weaker arm and you have kind of this timing mechanism that can kind of step off when you're going to throw the ball, then that's something I can get a read on. But if that ball is coming out and it's coming out as hot as it can, out of his hands, Trey Lance, it might not be as much of an issue as it would be for an average arm quarterback. But as far as what I usually see as a defensive back, I'm looking more so at that kind of down the distance, what the alignment of a receiver, where they align, what do they like to do on these downs, and then more so concepts than actually like staring down the quarterback. You stare down the quarterback, what happened to you is what happened to Jalen Ramsey last night when he got beat for that 50-yard touchdown by Stephon Diggs.
You're listening to Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game. We had the pleasure to be joined by Eric Crocker on Locked On 49ers podcast. Eric, what excites me, and I think a lot of people, is what's the 49er offense going to look like? And we went back and forth like ping pong. Is it going to be the same? And I'm saying, hell no, it better not be the same, because Trey can do different things than Jimmy. What do you expect in regards to what it's going to look like, the plan of attack from the Niners offense this Sunday?
I think one thing is very clear, that I've seen with Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance, like kind of one of the biggest differences. I think even if you call the same exact play for both guys, they might throw it to a different guy, right? I think Trey Lance, one thing we've seen is his eyes are a little bit more aggressive, and that can be good and bad, right? Like he's going to push the envelope and push the ball down the field a little bit more, even if we're just talking about a 15-yard drive throw, as opposed to Jimmy Garoppolo, who's going to be more consistent with getting his receivers run after catch opportunities right now underneath. So I'd say probably a little bit longer developing plays as Trey Lance continues to work on the timing, but definitely more throws outside the numbers and a little bit more down the field, as opposed to what we've seen from Jimmy Garoppolo. So again, it could be the same exact play call, but they just see the field much different.
Croc, what do you see with Hufanga? There were talk that coming out that maybe he was a special teamer, and then he just has continued to improve. Every time this team reconvenes, he's better. And then you see him, you talk to D'Amico loves him. He's doing all kinds of extra work. He's the first guy out there. He's the last guy off the field. What are you seeing with Hufanga? And do you think he's got enough speed to be able to defend the deep quadrants of the field?
Yeah, one thing, I watched a lot of Hufanga's film when he was coming out of USC, and he looked to be kind of a step slow. Like when he has to be a little bit more honest with what he's seeing, a little bit step slow, and that will cause him to miss tackles or take a bad angle. And I think at any level, whether it's collegiate level, when he's going to be successful, or the NFL, is going to be being able to stay a step ahead mentally, because he's not the most physically gifted safety out there. So he was a guy who you could say is, I guess, a little bit more of an overachiever with his effort, and I was curious to see how that would translate to the NFL. If I know anything about the 49ers coaching staff and guys like D'Amico Ryans, they do a tremendous job of putting their players in advantageous situations. So I don't think they'll ask him to do too much of things that they know, like, oh man, we don't want to put him in this type of position. So I'd assume that he would do well. I think it just changes how you have to call plays, as opposed to having a guy like Jimmy Ward out there, or maybe two Jimmy Wards, where you could be much more versatile in the play call.
It's Willard and Dibs right here on 95.7 The Game. The voice you hear is that of Eric Crocker, Locked On 49ers podcast, former NFL DB. Eric, let me ask you this, man, because I'm telling Larry, so much of sports now has become off the field stuff, Kardashian stuff, and we had Captain Gate, and I thought Trey Lance, I like the fact he didn't get voted captain. That's telling me the veterans want him to earn it. But there was a name that I didn't hear that I thought should have been, and that's Deebo Samuel. You've been in the NFL locker room. You know the dynamic. Was that a big deal that we found out Deebo was not voted the captain?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you look at the guys that did get it, and those guys are all highly respected. They've all put in a lot of time with the 49ers. I know Deebo and Nick Bosa came in at the same time, and it was a little, I guess, I don't want to say a little strange, but it just depends on how people view some of these players, and it seems like everyone loves Deebo Samuel. They love his attitude. I think he should have been captain just based off how he handled the contract situation, where he felt like he was disgruntled, but then he showed up to everything, and he had high spirits, bounced around, and was a great teammate. But overall, I don't think that's something that these guys care about, man. Like, they get paid, and then they go out and do a job, and I think that's what they care about most important.
I'll tell you what jumps out to me is how well Trey looks throwing the deep ball. You play DB. When a team adds speed like Ray McLeod and maybe more specifically Danny Gray, how does that change your mindset when you're walking to the line of scrimmage on any down or distance?
Oh, man, it changes a lot, right? I talked about playing honest, right? When you have a guy like Hufanga out there at safety. And it's the same thing when you're playing the cornerback position. I want to know, okay, what do they like to do? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? And we saw some of that last year where, Jimmy Garoppolo, he was able to overcome some of his, deficiencies in the sense of how he was able to put, run an offense. But you saw those safeties starting to tighten down, put more guys in the box against the run, and how difficult that made it to run the ball in the playoffs. Well, with Trey Lance out there, just the threat of him throwing the deep ball, because he will push the envelope. You got to play more honest as a defense, so that should make it to where there's not as many guys in the box versus the run, and kind of open up things all over for you. So, good deep ball, but to me, it's more so just having the threat of it that where, it makes the defense have to play a little bit more honest.
Hey, thank you so much, Eric. Safe travels and enjoy your time in the Shy, and hopefully the Niners get it done. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Eric.
Eric Crocker, Locked On 49ers podcast, former NFL DB. I always heard that they DBs play DB because they couldn't catch.
Right.
That's pretty true.
I mean, those guys will say it to each other in practice.
Wow.
Man, if you can catch, you
got
get receiver.
cup hands. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Dude, Larry,
and they work on it, man. They'll take out the jugs gun and they'll be firing ball after ball.
Sometimes it's not like, Larry, you can learn how to dance or do the new dance move. My boy Reg, before the 8th grade dance, taught me how to Smurf. That was like the end dance. Your boy had 2 left legs.
Did you teach Jerry Rice? Rice used it as his touchdown dance for like a decade.
That is awesome. But there's some things you just you're born with. And to me, accuracy, hands, and a jumper. You can improve those things, but you can never be prolific. Like if you don't got a net, like Eddie House, I don't know, tell you my whole life here. Out of Union City, I was his coach, CYO.
Played at ASU.
3rd grade through 8th grade. This kid in 3rd grade was shooting at 3-line before there was a 3-line. I knew something was happening here. And then he had a jumper. So you could see it early on. And I'm just saying, I don't like hearing said quarterback, and I'm not saying this is what they're saying about Lance, doesn't have accuracy or a guy has hands. Larry Krueger, I just believe you can't work on those things.
It's funny. Steve Young said that for years. Like, if you're accurate or you're not.
Right.
But then you look at a guy like Josh Allen and look at year one, and then look
53%.
Look what he did last night. He completed 84% of his passes. He was just throwing strike after strike after strike.
So maybe you can.
I think you can. It's like I kind of look at completion percentage the same way I look at shooting percentage in the NBA. Nobody's shooting percentage goes down for the most part, right?
Yeah.
It goes up. Why? Because of the reps.
Yeah. We love you, Dave.
And you go from college reps to pro reps. There's a lot more reps in the pros. Most guys go to the free throw line and they shoot 75% from the line in college. They may be able to up that to 80% in the pros. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
I think Trey's completion percentage will go up. But I'll give you an example. Yesterday in practice, they're throwing that 12-yard out, and he's airmailed 2 or 3 of them where, he get the elbow drops and the ball sails.
And what did you say? Cosell talked about it was a hitch.
Well, he says that he's got a little bit of a hitch in his motion. That it's something that can be correctable over time. But a lot of it's about mechanics. I mean, you got to remember this: when you're going deep down the field, it's more about your arm strength and less about your mechanics. When it's about the short game or the 12-yard out, it's a lot about your footwork, your balance, and your mechanics.
Yeah.
There's no room for any wasted steps. So, like, just watching Brock Purdy, who's played more football than Trey, he's got those steps down, and he's throwing strikes. Why? He's played 4 years at Iowa State. He's done those reps. He's got a lot more reps under his belt, and so does Jimmy.
And they kept him.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while for Trey, especially on the short game. All the stuff around the line of scrimmage. I'm not saying he's Kaepernick, who really could not hit the back out of the backfield.
And they figured him out because I believe, talking about Cap, Larry, again, I'm not Jaworski. I believe his mechanics got him to the point to where he was a phenom, but almost like Randall Cunningham, but he didn't take that next step, and he didn't have a knuckleball or a curve. He didn't have that touch. You could look at the last series in the Super Bowl against the Ravens, and I think that, of course, with the stuff off the field, bigger problem.
He just never grew in those anticipatory throws.
Man,
where you're gonna. The old
saying, could jump the route on Cap
where you could throw a guy open.
Okay. Oh, that's
where you're throwing it to a space because your receiver's going to break out.
Justin Herbert on line 1.
Yeah, I mean, Cap didn't have that, but I see Trey as he needs refinement, but I see improvement. I see improvement from the beginning of camp to this point. So I think this is a player who's all in on getting better, and he's going to get there.
Yeah,
it may not
be better.
But it may not be this year.
No doubt.
Got to show some patience.
Hopefully, it may not be this year, but his good enough is enough. Just like Jimmy, we got here with his shortcomings. We're still a factor. That's still on the table. It's bigger than Trey because this Niner team is ready damn near at every other level. And you said all in. We got the phone lines are packed. I want to get the callers to call in. I want to ask them and give us a score, Larry. I know that sounds sophomoric, but I want a score. What do you think is going to happen Sunday in the Chi? And I know you're not the weatherman, but I wish they could borrow ours here in California as we go through this heat wave.
It's going to rain.
It's going to rain, and I'm wondering, is that going to slow Debo Ayuk down? And if there's no Kittle and the O-line has a bad day, is it grimy, as they say? Is it 13-10? Because that's gonna help the Bears.
Well, or you know what? The 49ers are going big. They have a ton of O-linemen. They've got a bunch of backs. I think they're going to go run heavy scheme this year. I think the bad weather in some ways favors the 49ers.
Well, I think I heard you say that earlier, and I was like, I'm thinking, but okay,
we'll
see how it plays out.
The Niners want to run the ball, and they got big backs. The Niner backs average about 215 pounds.
And one of them ain't Trey Sermon. Where'd he go? Philly? Wow, that's incredible. Hey, let's go out to Walnut Creek, your old stomping ground. No, that's not where you're from. You're from the city. Well, you lived in the creek.
I live there now.
There you go. Know your partner. That's what I had you affiliated with Walnut Creek. And welcome Miley to the program. What's up, Miley?
What's up? Hey, Krug, I got to let you know.
Yeah.
Your talk about practice nuance is thank you for saying that, because so many of the local media and for that matter, national media, they don't put that context to it. You're keeping.
There's a lot of, just remember this, there's a lot of factors that are unknown to the press and to the fans and to everybody except for the players and coaches themselves. So you just got to remember that. You just can't put too much into practice.
My son plays safety at Clayton Valley. You
guys are a juggernaut with the black turf. Have you ever seen Clayton Valley?
Black turf?
They got black turf.
I've seen blue.
Green.
Wow.
No, they changed it back to green.
Did they change it?
Oh, no more black.
Well, that must have been this year then, right? I mean,
I wonder if they play Logan.
Last year, but
I was out there for 7-on-7, and it was like they were practicing on the face of the sun. It was so hot out there with the black turf.
Oh, no doubt. My son used to play 7-on-7, being a safety, and as a matter of fact, Eric Crocker used to have a team, 7-on-7 team. I don't know if he still does, but they were out of Stockton. I think it was St. Mary's. But anyway, I also wanted to say your other point about Jimmy, kind of just waiting in the weeds for Trey to play bad. I mean, that's a part of it for sure, because, Jimmy's been a starter. He's been to high heights. But what I really think it also is, they have redeemed some trade value by lowering that $25 million down to 6.5. And I think Jimmy's just kind of quietly sitting, waiting. Like you said, let his body heal, get right. And then if a deal comes along, he may be gone. And he'll be able to call that shot.
Yep.
We'll see. We appreciate the phone call.
They took an asset that was untradeable because of the contract, and they made it incredibly tradable and even borderline valuable by making him a $6.2 million guy.
Yeah, but the right on the table, Larry, is who wanted him? And it seems like nobody wanted him. I know you heard different. You'll share with us, but the Niners are a better football team with him being their Geico. And nobody saw that happening, extenuating circumstances, the surgery, the knife. I get it. But you cannot tell me Kyle Shanahan, and he's the one that'll fall on the sword if Trey, from a production standpoint, if it's not what he needs to be, now they got 10 to come in and save the day. That's making everybody over there, I'm talking about ownership, coaches, sleep a little better. They won't say that, and it's taboo because we're all in on Trey. I get it, but man, I never thought in a million years, and I said it at the end, he'll take less money to come back. I'm a romantic at heart, and it ended up happening. But man, if Trey doesn't do his part, then it's like, hey, we all can see if Jimmy's still on the Niners, and I expect him to be with the naked eye, you got to go pull him. You got to go get him. You owe it to the other 50-umpteen guys on this locker room.
I think the 49ers have a lot of faith in Trey, but they are not willing to make 2022 entirely a referendum on Trey Lance. There's too many. They're in their Super Bowl window. There's too much talent on the field. Yeah. They were one win away from the Super Bowl last year. They added
and you still got that quarterback
and Danny Gray and Ray McLeod and improved their special teams. They don't want this season to just simply be a referendum on Trey. It may wind up being that, but if Trey doesn't play well, the Niners want to be able to contend for a Super Bowl anyway this year. So they don't want it to just be a referendum on Trey. They want to have 2 bites of the apple.
Okay.
Trey and Jimmy.
Let me throw this to you before we break here. We got people still wanting to talk. We got former NFL linebacker who's calling the game for Compass Media Network, Chad Brown. Remember him? Former Steeler.
Isn't he big on didn't he like pythons or boas or he's like a snake guy, I think.
Yeah. Oh, no, somebody's in my ear thinking I was going to crash and burn the Starship, but I do that. But I'm ready. But I think you may be right. Larry, I want to double back to something you said. If I could author a book and write a book, because you are like me, we love sports. It's in our veins, but we also have kids, and I got 3 of them. Is there anything better, forget the pros, than watching your kid play high school ball? Like, that would be my book. I get more nervous than I did for my favorite pro player. Is there anything that comes close to that, Larry? My answer is hell no. I would get more nervous than the kids. And my daughter playing volleyball now was in the crowd the other day, Larry. She serves like Serena, but it's volleyball. She's a big girl. She just put some sting on it. They duck it out the way. I'm like, that's my girl.
When my kid played football at Northgate,
yeah,
and it was noontime on Friday.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd be walking around, and I'd be nervous as hell.
I want to hug you,
And it's like I'd be nervous as hell, and my friends would be like, "Why are you so nervous?" It's like, well, you're nervous for football's unlike the other sports. You're nervous because you want your kid to play well.
Okay.
And my kid played receiver and corner.
Oh, man.
So it was like, you know what? I hope he makes a catch. I hope he doesn't get burned for 6. I hope
the parents looking at me.
I hope he doesn't is not the reason we lose.
Man.
And then also the injury factor in football. It's like seriously, I'd be driving home at I'd get up Friday morning. And drive into work, and I'd be thinking about that high school football game.
That's amazing,
and I'd be thinking about it all day.
It's the dopest, man.
Day.
I'm fired up for Niners Chicago, but I just think about it. That hit me in a cardiac muscle when you said it. Like, I'm with you. And my son played baseball. I used to watch the opposing pitcher warm up. I'm such a wimp. I'm like, man, if he gets hit, what if he takes one in the head? Things like that happen.
Let me ask you this. Were you verbal? Because, people recognize.
Right? I was that guy.
Well, people recognize your voice. People recognize my voice sometimes. So when I would go to the games, I would make sure that I didn't say.
I got throughout my kids' basketball. I'm not proud of it. I got throughout a game. I got right.
You got thrown out?
And it was fourth quarter with 2 minutes left, so I was at the.
What did you say?
Just, you should be ashamed of yourself, ref. And it was a female ref. And she stopped it and pointed, and they came. The coach had my son's coach, he's still mad at me. You got to leave. What'd
your kid say?
Oh, dude, he's real reserved.
What'd your wife say?
You're just an embarrassment. You're an embarrassment. And then we had a game winner. There's video of this, Larry.
She didn't start a fight.
My son didn't hit Zach Chan hit the game winner. I ran on the court and celebrated with the kids. Larry, that one is just like, I'm terrible.
Dude, I love you for
and
that.
My daughter said, she said this the other day, last thing,
on
Larry.
The court?
She goes, my team, her volleyball coach is a mute. They won't tell them when they're playing bad. Wake up. I'm like, come on, girls, communicate. And then she goes, my teammates are saying, why is your dad so stressed? I said, all right, that one hit me. I'll tone it down. But Larry's the best, man.
Yeah, no.
NFL
Seriously.
and parenting.
I'd rather watch my kid play anything except track.
Okay. I'm about that. I'm out.
There's nothing worse than a track meet.
Yeah, no doubt. Larry, when we get back, you got to pay off your tease about what the Jimmy-Trey thing, the dynamic. We got to get into that because you kind of teased it, but you didn't. We'll get into that right here on Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
It's the first Football Friday on 95.7 The
Game. It just doesn't matter.
Spinning and picking up that first down is Deebo Samuel. Can't get away. Bosa is right there for the sack.
We've got predictions, stats, and more.
The job's been given. The only way Trey Lance loses the job is if he's terrible when games are played.
This is the Bay Area's sports station, 95.7 The Game.
Looking for a fulfilling career with opportunities for job growth? Is paid training, excellent medical and dental benefits, and a pension important to you? Then apply to become a VTA bus operator, providing VTA customers with a great transit experience. Visit VTA.org/point-A and apply.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
187.
If you want to sell online, make sure you stand out. Go to Wix e-commerce and create a professional online store that will grab shoppers' attention. Build a state-of-the-art storefront and make it your own. Showcase your products with striking product pages and sell subscriptions. You can practically smell the beans. Go global and display prices in local currencies. Want to boost your sales? Grab a coffee and chat with your customers to offer product advice and send instant coupons. Streamline your checkout process with automated shipping fees and sales tax calculations. If a customer leaves items behind, remind them to complete their purchase with an abandoned cart recovery email. As orders come in, manage your inventory and track your sales from one convenient dashboard. Analyze your comprehensive sales and traffic reports or build your own. Check out these and more must-have e-commerce features for sellers who mean business. Go to Wix e-commerce and create your online store today.
There is still that big HGTV reveal moment for me. And I do have that little like Christmas morning feeling of, oh, this is as great as it was in my head.
We try and impact our clients' lives in a positive manner, not just from the landscape itself, but from the design aspect, so that when we create the space for them, it is the most functional, usable space.
Sure is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations, so you get the product you're looking for. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I got Park Hill and West Valley covered on Tuesday.
At Marita's Pool Service, the current staffing plan doesn't hold water.
3 more neighborhood pools on the same day.
She needs more pool technicians to dive into work head first.
That's awesome, but now we're shorthanded.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Dell Technologies' semi-annual sale has arrived, and it's time to upgrade to the latest business technology. Save big on laptops and desktops with Windows 11 Pro. Plus, get amazing deals on server, storage, and cloud solutions, as well as top work accessories, including docks, monitors, and more. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL for special business offers during our semi-annual sale.
Much cooler in Hayward. For today, a high of 84.
Brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Your neighborhood Ashley store has all the styles, selection, and value you'll need to invite fall in this season. Find furniture you'll love by shopping locally or visit ashley.com today.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMC FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app. He brings the passion.
For what? I want to know now. I'm mentally invested. Don't tell me to pray and you don't say what for.
He brings the perspective.
Yeah, I think they both have a great point. Get off me, text line.
He's truly one of a kind.
That is wow.
Oh my God.
And he's doing a great job.
I need you to man up and say what you really want to say.
Simon, you're doing a great job.
And together, they're Steiny and Guru.
Yeah.
On 95.7 The Game.
You got to like that, Larry. We've been here 2 hours and 2 opens. I am Daryl the Guru Johnson. No Steiny, as he is taking his daughter to college in England. But in form, as you know, is the great Larry Krueger. And speaking of Steiny, he's in England. R.I.P. to the Queen who passed.
That's right.
He said it was going. People were like it was a big deal. Obviously, it was, but that's kind of wow. You're out there and that happens.
I don't have a strong opinion.
Yeah, they were talking about shutting down sports in the UK for 10 days, but I guess they are going to have some sporting events this weekend in the UK.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, so are we here in the States, and the biggest game, obviously, is the San Francisco 49ers and the Bears. I want to ask you a question and the listeners. Are we looking at the Niners the right way? And I've heard these words come out your mouth. I've echoed them. We know it's a quarterback league, Larry, but that's all we kind of been, not on purpose, but not that that's what sells, but this is a big deal, the switch from Jimmy to the highest prize draft pick in Trey Lance. But are there any other areas of this team that need to be covered more or given attention that you feel like or not? Because to me, again, and the guys are calling me a Chicken Little because I'm worried about the offensive line. But hello, line one, the NFL fan, the game is won in the trenches. And if you can't block, Larry, you can't pass if you got Jesus back there, and you damn sure can't run.
Yeah. I mean, you're not. Football starts with your offensive line.
It's real,
right? I mean, can you run the ball? Well, I mean, can this offensive line open holes for Elijah Mitchell? I think it's a question. He's the number one back. The Niners have held him out. Last year when the Niners played the Bears, I think like 99% of his yards came after contact. Had a great game that day. So yeah, can the Niners run the ball? Can this offensive line open run lanes? That to me is a question. And then, we know that Trey and Ayuk have a good rapport. You can see it on the practice field, and they spend a lot of time.
Does that mean anything, though, Larry?
Well, I think it does, because I think ultimately you don't get on your quarterback has to put in the reps with his receivers. There's no shortcutting it. You have to know their body language. You have to get on the same page on play after play after play. He has that rapport with Ayuk. We haven't necessarily seen him develop that rapport with Debo,
who wasn't out there for other reasons.
Right. And so now, and Debo is obviously the Niners' number one receiver. So, I mean, to me, that's a question. How good of a rapport is Trey and Debo going to have? Then the other thing I'm looking for, and we haven't talked a whole lot about, is how are the Niners going to utilize Debo different now that he's got the contract, now that they have Danny Gray, now that they have Elijah Mitchell has Ty Davis-Price, and they've got some other dynamic weapons. So what's the usage of Debo going to look like? How's the rapport between Trey and Debo? Can the interior O-line open run lanes? Those are my questions. Can Trey move the team? Can he move the team? Man. That's a big one. Can he make those, and how is the run game different? I think you're going to see a much more diversified running attack. I think on paper, Goo, you should see a better run attack from the Niners because with the quarterback who can run, you got one more guy in the run game you've got to account for. That's going to create space. So what does the Niner run game look like with Trey as opposed to Jimmy? I think that's a big question.
Can you share with us the Larry Krueger metric on just like Debo? Like, I have nothing set in stone. I'll know what it looks like, especially when the game plays out. Let's just say Trey has an interception or two early on. It's late fourth. They're driving, maybe trying to run the clock out up 6. You don't want to punt the ball. I'm wondering, okay, after week 8 last year, they would throw something behind the line of scrimmage. We see a jet sweep with Debo. Do you have any, you know what, you need to do this, Kyle, at least a few times? Or do you think they're just going to, and it's going to reveal itself, go totally away from that? Because you mentioned you got new people in town. You got the Danny Gray. Like, how do you just stay away from putting Debo in a collision, but also with the opportunity to maybe doesn't get hit and he's gone for 70 yards?
Well, I'm
looking for that, Larry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to run him between the tackles. I think they're going to run him outside the tackle box, and I think you're going to see them throw it to him short still. But I don't think you're going to see those. You're not going to see those 3rd and 1. Here comes Debo, running it between the guard and the center. You're just like, you saw that last year.
By the necessity, they were dire,
right? And then this year they don't need to do that, and they won't do that. So I think that's one thing that will be different. But I just want to see Debo look comfortable and look a little bit more like Debo from a year ago. We haven't seen enough of that in this camp. That's a concern for me. And then, as I said before, can the Niners stop the run?
That's on our Comcast business text line, Larry.
Can Darnell Mooney and Fields have a great rapport? He doesn't have a lot of receivers, but he's got a great thing going with Mooney. Can they shut off Fields' water and take away Mooney and make him find other receivers in the pattern? Yeah.
I'll tell you what, let's go out to Visalia, Larry, and welcome Jason to the program. What's up, Jason? He wants to talk Niner quarterbacks.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Oh, hey, Larry, I just want to say I'm a big fan of your YouTube channel. Been watching for a while.
Appreciate you, brother.
I just wanted to get on the Rams game yesterday. They came out I think the offense looked lethargic. I just didn't think they came prepared. I mean, it could be that Big Bay doesn't play his players in the preseason. But on another point on Lance and Jimmy, I think we're going to see a way different offense this year than what we've seen in the past. I think that the downfield throw, that we're going to be able to open up the downfield play action passes, and we're going to just see a whole different dynamic with Lance on the field.
It's funny. I always get the feeling when Garoppolo was in there that when Shanahan would call deep shots, it was really more to loosen up the defense. This year with Ray McLeod and with Danny Gray, well, both those guys can get deep, and Trey throws the deep ball pretty. I mean, he's got great timing on the deep ball. He's got great loft. I've seen him hit.
He threw one to Debo against the Texans. I think he left too much air under it, and Debo kind of had the DB beat. I could be wrong. It was preseason. But I'm saying just one throw guru defines it.
Yeah,
but you said that's his thing.
That's the exception. I mean, okay. I would say what I'm seeing in practice and in the preseason, and just from Trey, even after practice, when he sticks around with his receivers and they're going through reps, he's throwing the deep ball with just absolute precision. I mean, like Russell Wilson,
incredible.
The way Russell Wilson would make these down the field throws and just drop it in Metcalf's breadbasket and catch him on the pure run in stride. We're seeing Trey Lance do that.
Wow.
We're seeing Trey Lance do that. And if you can make that play, that's 6. You know what I mean? So I'm eager to see if the 49ers take, if it looks quite a bit different. And if they just say, you know what, this is a pattern that Gray runs comfortably. This is a route that Trey can hit. If you can hit the deep ball, it's like being able to throw the Hail Mary in Madden.
Larry, I'm telling you, man, I don't believe Russell Wilson gets the credit for that deep ball you talk about. I say it drops in like pigeon poop. That's what I mean. It's incredible. I'm like, these aren't 20. These are like down the field and then the nose of the football, bloop, and they're right in the receiver's hand. So if Trey has some of that, man, I mean, let's put another rat on the table. You tell me if I'm wrong. You can win and then their style to the way you're winning. Like Showtime with the Lakers. Not only did they win, they did it with a flair. The Rams with
the greatest show on turf.
Yeah, dude, Larry, I don't know if you're having memory loss. I am. What's the quarterback? Safeway.
Kurt Warner.
Okay, talk to me. Okay. Yeah, he was a big fan of Nick Mullins. I'll never forget that. A couple years back telling us Nick could do the offense. But that was style, and they got the wins. The Niners under Jimmy Garoppolo, give me this. Tell me what you think of this. They were kind of, the offense was boring. And Debo's added some sizzle to it. But I think Kyle wanted to get away from boring. You're looking at me like, I don't know, Goo. Well, but now with Trey and the ability to look downfield, and you got Ayuk when healthy, you got Kittle, and now Debo, we're going to see another facet to Debo's game, I believe, we haven't really seen, and that's him making big plays down the field with the ball in the air as opposed to us giving it to you like you're Earl Campbell.
Yeah, I mean, the Niners didn't have the quick strike attack.
Okay.
Now they can score on you in one play. They had to drive it before. It was like 10 play drives, 11 play drives.
18 at times and 3 points. Oh, my God.
And there's times where you want to play ball control and make the other team's defense stay out there and grind them into the ground. But, and the Niners are prepared to do that. But now they also have the vertical game, and they got the quarterback there who can connect down the field. So I think you're going to see a combination. I think you're going to see, what happened last year was if the Niners fell behind, they were not equipped to play that kind of game because Jimmy didn't have a lot of success throwing it down the field.
Man,
they didn't have a vertical threat.
I hate that,
now,
Larry.
If they fall into a 14-0 hole, they've got the weapons and the quarterback to challenge down the field.
No doubt. And I'll say this about you mentioned Dwelly. I just can't believe we're, a couple days away from the game. And Larry, you're right. You're tapped in. And maybe you don't even need to be tapped in to know said NFL player didn't practice last 2 days. He's not playing. I don't know if we're giving that enough attention. If people are riding around in their cars right now, like, oh, Guru, you're being negative. But again, this is a major blow to just Trey Lance not having 85 there to block on the run game or even have him run routes. So I'm sitting back right now as excited as I am, Larry. I just hate it for the team that we got to wait till week 2 maybe to see the debut of Lance hitting Kittle.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be conservative with Kittle, but it's a major loss, and it's not just for Lance. It's for the run game. I mean, Kittle's like an offensive lineman out there. He's a phenomenal blocker. He'll blow people off the line. So, yeah, they're going to miss him in the run game. They're going to miss him in the pass game. I was saying this, where they really miss Kittle is that Kittle brings that swagger, man. They have a swagger with
like
George.
A wrestler, huh?
Yeah, I mean, they just have a different vibe when he's out there. I mean, I'm not saying he's an offensive version of Deion Sanders or anything. He's a tight end, but there's a swagger to the way he carries himself on the football field that I think gives the entire offense confidence when he's there.
And we've seen quarterbacks with that. Like every quarterback doesn't have that, but when you have it, it's just like it's infectious. That people rally to.
The team feeds off of it. Yeah, that incredible confidence that, hey, here we come. And the other thing is the 49ers, we're going to find out about Charlie Werner. We're going to find out he's an improved player. Ross Dwelly, can he stand up as a blocker? I mean, they've got Dwelly's a good receiver, but is he a blocker? Warner's a decent try-hard blocker. Can he do the job as a receiver? They're going to have to mix and match here at the beginning.
Chris A.
I don't
on
expect
YouTube.
Kittle to play, though.
Okay, yeah. I hate that.
Basically, if you don't practice on Thursday,
I'll tell you what, if I'm a Bear player or I'm in that locker room or just part of the coaching staff, and we'll talk to Dan Hampton, NFL Hall of Famer at 1. We got Chad Brown coming up at 12:30. I'm going to ask him if you're going to pull off a miracle, if you want to call this and shock the world, the fact that the Bears get news that Kittle may not play, or if he doesn't, I mean, Larry, that helps them. I'm predicting a blowout. Vegas has it -7. But damn, that is a big blow. And if I'm the Bears, okay, we got good news going in. Chris A. on YouTube says, won't be surprised if the 49ers red zone offense is tops in the league. And that had been kind of their Achilles heel at times. And if you're telling me Trey Lance you didn't say it, but I'm scared or worried about his accuracy. I'm wondering in the red zone if that'll rear its head. Because you got to have, that's when it comes into play too, Larry.
No question.
When the field is condensed,
right?
Man.
When the windows are tight. But I'll say this. I mean, I saw it in minicamp. I saw it in training camp. Trey looks pretty accurate in the red zone. I mean, he throws the ball pretty well in the red zone. I haven't seen, more of his inaccuracies come on the sideline route. That 8 to 12 yard out pattern, which is a concern because it's a layup for a lot of NFL quarterbacks. He's struggling with that, but he's not struggling with his accuracy overall. I think it's really more on that sideline route to his left, where sometimes he dips his elbow and the ball sails. And then when he misses, it's not like he misses all over the place. He misses consistently high. So the elbow drops and the ball sails. And you see it. You see it in practice. And there were times yesterday where he's going through the drills and, he would airmail one and then say, hey, give me another rep. Give me one more rep of that.
Okay.
So you'd see Jimmy get some reps. Purdy would get some reps. But then when Trey would throw one, if he didn't make a good throw, he would come back and beg for that second rep. And then
you got to love that.
And as
a gamer.
As a starter, guess what? You're getting that extra rep.
We're going to go out to Drop of the Hat Matt and get his 49ers predictions. And then I'm going to come back, Larry, and I'm going to ask you, give me a score. Give us a score Thursday. Like, what's in your gut about this game? What's up, Drop of the Hat Matt?
Hey, happy Friday, man. Football season is here. The Rams lost. It don't get better than that. Yeah, I'm not really sold on Lance. This kid, he has a lot of potential. His ceiling is high. You know what I mean? The problem is that he got to reach that. So we all gonna find out. I'm still a Jimmy G guy, but my prediction is that the Bears have a better game plan, especially with the rain and no Kittle. It's gonna be a lower scoring game. I think the Niners lose this game, man. But it's a learning experience for Trey Lance. What I got on that?
Wow.
I agree with
they lose. Come on.
No, I don't
Drop
agree with
of the hat,
that.
man. We love you, but come on.
But I agree with the under. I like the under.
All right, I can definitely see that play.
I think 49ers.
I'm gonna see what it is.
I think Chicago is going to be very, very conservative. Why? Because they don't have a lot of weapons.
Right,
they
by
really
default,
don't.
Yeah.
I mean, they have Darnell Mooney, and then they've got a nice little backfield combo of David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert and Cole Kmet to kind of be the continuity piece that moves the chains on third down. But they don't have big time weapons. They don't have a ton of speed. They don't have depth of receivers. But what they're going to do is they're going to run it on first and second down. They're going to try to get into manageable third downs, and then you're going to see Cole Kmet try to convert, or you're going to see Fields with his legs try to convert.
I expect a Niner blowout. I just do, and again, Kyle Shanahan. If I could have a beer with him, Willard, or dinner, my question to him would just be why? Why was it this kid? Because there was no Fiesta Bowl. There was no national championship game. There was no plethora of Saturday big-time ABC games to where you've seen this kid do it like we've seen some of the greats in the past. And I'm not holding that against Trey, saying he can't be great, but with the team that you had and the fact that you've gotten so close and almost played in 2 Super Bowls, my question again, Larry, would be why now? And
why now for
Trey Lance? Why did you make the change to your football team now?
Yeah. I mean, I would ask 2 questions.
That's big.
The why now, I think I know the why now.
Give it to me.
Because I think if you study the last 20 years of the NFL, there's really only been 2 quarterbacks, Nick Foles and Brad Johnson, who you would put in the Jimmy Garoppolo category, that went on and won a Super Bowl. That's 2 guys in 20 years. That's a 10% chance of winning the Super Bowl. I think Kyle Shanahan.
That wouldn't Dilfer be on that list?
Yeah, that was more than 20 years ago.
Oh, okay. Good Lord.
I mean, yeah.
Right.
Seriously. But in the last 20 years, two guys that are like Garoppolo won the Super Bowl. For the most part, Super Bowls are won by top 10 quarterbacks, not by guys ranked 15 to 25. That's where Jimmy probably really ranks. I would rank him probably around 15. Other people are around 20, 22. But my point is that Shanahan wanted to hedge his bet, and he wanted somebody who's more dynamic, and he wanted more than a 10% chance of winning the Super Bowl.
But what are the risks
he
involved in that, Larry? There's risk.
Absolutely.
If he can't be one of the 15,
it's a different question, though. I mean, the first question is, why did they upgrade from Garoppolo? They upgraded from Garoppolo because they felt like they can improve their odds of winning that Super Bowl, and they have their doubts. But as far as Trey, I mentioned before I did an interview this week with Randy Mueller, Randy's former GM.
When are we going to hear that one?
I'm going to play some of it on the pregame, actually, with Lowe on Sunday, 9 a.m. right here on 95.7 The Game. Randy Mueller, in that interview, I said, what did you think of Trey coming out? And he said to me something that really shocked me. He said, I took Trey completely off my board.
Damn!
I would not even consider drafting Trey Lance. And I said, why? He said, because there wasn't enough there as far as the film. He said there wasn't enough reps, there wasn't enough experience, there wasn't enough examples of Trey showing quarterback skills. He showed a lot of running ability at North Dakota State, but I said, what do you mean? You wouldn't have him in the second round, the third round? He's like, I just took him completely off my board. I could not draft him, and I definitely couldn't draft him in the top 5 based on his resume. And that's a personnel guy. That's a guy who's devoted 40 years of his life to player personnel evaluation. He said he could not draft Trey Lance based on what he saw at North Dakota State. That opened my eyes. It really did.
That's heavy. And the people that say when I say I don't know what he's going to be, and the guys in the morning, Bonte and Shasky putting on that list, I don't belong on that list. I'm like your guy.
Yeah.
I think that's legit to say, and drop of the hat, Matt kind of time. He's an unknown commodity.
It's a total risk.
So
they took a huge swing.
Am I wrong?
On a very raw, unproven prospect, and with the high upside potential.
Okay,
Trey's got traits. He's got brain. He's got a brain. He's got arm strength. He's got ability, athleticism, football family. It's important to him. He's got several good traits, but it's a projection. It's a projection, and that's
a big projection, Larry.
And that's what makes it risky. And that's why there's a bust factor here.
And it's not with
and there's
any
a bust
pick.
factor with any
Okay,
pick.
all right.
But there's a bust factor
Super
here with
bust
Trey
with this one
because there's not the resume. There's not the collegiate
resume. And the question
resume.
to Kyle is, what workout or what throw had you go all in that your guy that took him completely off the board? But Kyle was wowed. What wowed you? What day of the week was it?
I think
what
they
route
fell in
was
love.
It? What throw was it?
That's a great question. The other thing is, I think it has to do with their feel for Trey as a person and his family and what he is
but
as
Larry,
a worker.
I love you, but what's that mean? This ain't no reunion. What the hell the family got to do with it?
Well, the family, as far as he comes from a football family.
All right, okay.
So it's like it would be like if your dad was a talk show host.
All right, I got
you. You've been around the game.
Right.
Like football is the family business. So it's not like he's like doing. Everybody's yearning to be somewhere. Some guys are at the facility looking at their watch going, I can't wait to get home. Other guys are at home looking at their watch going, I can't wait to get to the facility.
I get it, right.
They believe that they've got the ladder, that that football's important to him, that he loves the process, and that he's going to do the work necessary. That he has incredible traits. So you have high-end traits with a kid who's willing to do the work, and they think he's going to get there. And I think he's going to get there too, but I think it's going to take time.
And it's just interesting to see, will the team suffer because of that, or will they prosper at least to where they prosper with Jimmy and his shortcomings?
And will the veterans demand Jay?
And that's why this is a circus in regard to if Jimmy had been gone and kick rocks, nobody's going to overtake Kyle or the vets and be like, we need Purdy in there or Sudfeld. Now they got a guy that took them to the Super Bowl and 2 NFC championships. Before we go to break, Larry, and this is not bad from Kyle, but how much of this pick is arrogance or ego to say, yeah, y'all got dudes that taking him off the board. Oh, Guru saying he's unknown, but I'm going to show you I can take this kid and go to the lab and have him be what hopefully he'll blossom into.
See, arrogance would be if everybody was telling you no and you were saying, I know better than you. I think that there was a big consensus among the Niners scouts and personnel people that Trey was the prospect and that they may have had to convince Shanahan ultimately that Trey was the prospect. I think, Shanahan can't run from this one. He's the guy. It's his call. But I think there were powers that be that really were pushing him towards this because there were a lot of people that see, let's take the best prospect, introduce him to what we think is the best process, letting him sit a year like Mahomes did. And then if you do that, you're going to wind up with a great result. We're going to find out if that's going to work out or not.
Yeah, it's Larry Krueger, Dale the Guru Johnson right here on Steiny and Guru. When we get back, we'll be joined by Chad Brown, who's working for Compass Media Network, and he'll be on the call for the Browns, Niners, and Bears this Sunday.
What's up, everybody? It's Bonte Hill of the Morning Roast, and Monday is going to be special because we are reacting to Bears Niners with the one and only Jerry Rice, the GOAT. We'll have some GOAT fuel. We'll talk shop with Jerry Rice, the greatest receiver of all time. Monday on the Roast. You don't want to miss it at 8:30 a.m. right here on 95.7 The Game.
Come into Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill, September 23rd through September.
No matter what you're in the mood for, with the all-new Royal Crispy Chicken lineup at Burger King, you can't go wrong. Classic, cheesy, spicy, or tangy. Reward yourself with any of the all-new Royal Crispy Chicken sandwiches today, only at Burger King.
25th for their fall clearance sale event. Take advantage of factory direct prices, one-of-a-kind opportunities, special pricing on floor models, and convenient financing. And save on new appliances from trusted brands like Miele, Bosch, Electrolux, LG, and Maytag. Visit Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill for their fall clearance sale event, September 23rd through September 25th, for the best time to save on new appliances for your home.
If you're a professional builder or designer, here's some good news from Golden State Lumber. Their relationships with Capital Lumber, Cal Cascade, Humboldt Sawmill, and others have led to an increase in lumber inventory. Golden State strives to deliver most materials the next day, if not the same day. Be sure to download the Golden State app, which provides access to hundreds of resources. Find it at goldenstatelumber.com. For 3 generations, Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed.
The following is an attorney advertisement. If you get sidelined by a workplace injury, the workers' compensation attorneys at Boxer and Gerson can help get you back in the game. Our team of skilled attorneys will fight by your side for the treatment and compensation you deserve. We care about justice for injured workers. That's what makes us Northern California's premier workers' comp law firm. Call Boxer and Gerson at 510-345-2341 or visit boxerlaw.com for a free consultation. Boxer and Gerson, your life is worth the fight.
Bart is turning 50, and we'd love to celebrate with you. Get 50% off of your ride in honor of Bart's 50 years of service to the Bay Area when you pay with Clipper. That's 50% off Clipper Bart fares for the entire month of September. Add Clipper to your digital wallet for free. If you're eligible for other Clipper discounts like youth or senior fares, you get to take an additional 50% off of those too. Details at bart.gov/50 years. Celebrate Bart's 50 years of service with us this September. Let's go.
Everyone knows how beneficial therapy can be, but traditional therapy can be overwhelming, confusing, and inconvenient. When scheduling in-person therapy, it can be difficult to find the right therapist near you, and it can take weeks to get on their calendar. We knew there had to be a better way, and that's where BetterHelp began. I'm Danny, co-founder of BetterHelp Online Therapy. When Alana and I started BetterHelp in 2013, our mission was simple: find a way to make professional therapy accessible, affordable, and convenient for everyone. BetterHelp works around your schedule and lifestyle. You can connect to a therapist by phone, video call, or even text message. You don't even have to turn on your camera if you don't feel comfortable. And if your therapist isn't the right fit, you can switch anytime with the click of a button, because BetterHelp is designed with you in mind. See why over 2 million members have trusted BetterHelp for online therapy. Go to betterhelp.com/youfirst and get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/youfirst for 10% off your first month.
In order for small businesses to thrive, they need to be smart, efficient, agile, staying ahead of the market at every turn, and finding ways to do more with less. That's never been more important than it is right now. So for a limited time, Comcast Business is introducing Small Business Savings, a deal for companies across the country. When you call in now, you can get powerful internet for just $39 a month for 12 months. $39 a month. with no annual contract and a money-back guarantee. All on the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses, with the company that powers more businesses than anyone else. So if you're a small business owner, don't wait. Call and get started today. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Offer ends 9/21/22. Restrictions apply. New Comcast Business 50 megabits per second internet customers only. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Call or go online for details. After promo, regular rates apply.
Kirby is your driveway mechanic. They bring the shop to you with brake replacements, oil changes, washes, and so much more. Get $50 off your first oil change with code OIL50 at Kirby.com. That's CURBEE.com and use code OIL50.
At Harris Ranch, we do beef, just like we've done for over 50 years. Beef that's raised locally right here in California. Tender steaks, awesome burgers, and California classics like tri-tip roast. The flavor you crave, the quality you trust time after delicious time. Come on, it's time to get out and grill. Harris Ranch, we do beef. Legendary beef, legendary quality.
It's time to say goodnight to that check engine light with the free AutoZone Fix Finder service. It'll help troubleshoot the likely cause of your light for free, so you can drive with peace of mind. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
This is James Wiseman, and you are listening to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
Thank you, James. And what a Friday. The first Friday before week one. The Niners are in Chicago, and we got the pleasure, Larry, to be joined by former NFL linebacker, and he works for Compass Media Network. He'll be on the call for Niners and Bears, and that's the great Chad Brown. Chad, thanks for taking time out of your day. How are you?
I'm fantastic, man. How are you guys doing out there?
We're fired up, man. And my question to you is, because you know about the locker room dynamic, you played the game. If I ask you, Chad Brown, how good are the Niners? If it were Jimmy quarterbacking, would it be different than the answer it is with Trey Lance taking the field Sunday?
I think the Trey Lance thing is just so much of an unknown for football fans. So here, I live in Denver, and obviously the Broncos are a big conversation out here. And the fact that the Broncos and Niners get together in week 3, as some folks are predicting the schedule and predicting win-loss records, they're automatically chalking this up for a win for the Broncos over the Niners because of Trey Lance at quarterback. And I say, whoa. This team was deep in the playoffs last year. How dare you just dismiss them with a wave of the hand because they got a different guy under center? It's still great players everywhere. There's still Fred Warner. There's still Nick Bosa. There's still Eric Armstead on defense. There's still George Kittle on offense. Let's not forget about those guys just because a different player is lining up under center.
No doubt. I would expect a run-heavy game plan with Trey Lance in there at quarterback. What are you looking for as a guy who played defense at a high level in this league from Lance that would tell you that he's either, on the verge of making an impact in this league or a mile away from it?
Third down. Third down is always the most telling down for quarterbacks. First and second down, the defense is not always sure whether it's going to be run or pass. The defensive play call may not be dialed in specifically. But once it's 3rd and 6 plus, 3rd and 8 plus, then the defensive coordinator has a pretty strong idea you are going to pass the football. He's going to roll out his best pass defense. So the quarterbacks who can excel in those situations, when you weren't successful on 1st and 2nd down, you got to be able to throw it on 3rd down. Those are the best quarterbacks in the league. Those are quarterbacks who defensively, we were in the right call, but you found a way to complete the pass. Those are the guys that give you worry. So I don't think Trey is going to be there just quite yet, particularly in week 1. But that's what I would be looking for him to eventually develop into. Doesn't have to be a 68% passer. Doesn't need to be Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers. But low 60s is good. But again, on 3rd down, can you consistently be successful?
You're listening to Steiny and Guru right here on 95.7 The Game. We got the pleasure to be joined by Chad Brown, former NFL linebacker, works for Compass Media Network. He'll be on the call for the Niners and Bears. And Chad, I don't want to get too heavy on you, but I'm going to just share something with you in my heart right now, because last week we had on the great Warren Moon, Hall of Famer, and we know how his career started. Some of his, you can make an argument his best days were in the CFL because he wasn't trusted to be a quarterback in the NFL. And the NFL has made great changes. We see black quarterbacks littered all around the NFL. But I'm looking at Jameis Winston. I'm looking at Justin Fields, who didn't have the best rookie campaign, but I feel like he's getting hammered and raked over the coals a little more harsher than other quarterbacks. Do you feel like I'm off basis with that? And your just thoughts on Fields in general, his year one, and what you think of his future?
Well, I think overall, football media, football fans are harsher on black head coaches and black quarterbacks. So if we're going to, keep it real, let's keep it real. White quarterbacks get a chance to develop. There's I think a lower expectation for some of these guys. They get a chance to get recycled into other stocks before fan bases give up on them. So for Trey Lance and for Justin Fields, unfortunately, they're going to be judged to a harsher standard. There's nothing they can do about that. It's just the lay of the land. And so for coaches around the NFL, black coaching, I'm sure they could speak at volumes to that experience. The more harsh treatment, the more harsh judgment, the less of a ramp-up window to get their program going. So these quarterbacks, I suppose they could be sad about it, but they could also talk to those coaches who tell them, hey, man, this is the lay of the land. Until things change, we got to somehow find a way to play up to this higher expectation level and this higher standard.
It's
specifically. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say it's sad, but I do believe it's true. I do believe it's true. I think it is incredibly sad. I wanted to ask you, Chad, because I studied your career. I watched you at Colorado, and I watched your entire NFL career. You played for some of the defensive coaches I respect the most. I mean, Dick LeBeau, Bill Belichick. I mean, how would you compare? I mean, who taught you the most about playing defense in the NFL? Was it LeBeau in your early years? Was it Belichick? How would you describe or compare those two gentlemen?
Wow. Coach LeBeau may be the coolest human being ever to exist on the planet. He played with the Detroit Lions, so he grew up around all the Motown guys. Almost every single meeting, there's a Coach LeBeau story from the past, which is just awesome and fascinating, about kicking it with Marvin Gaye or whatever the case may have been. Coach LeBeau plays the guitar. So it's a little bit of football. It's a little bit of life lessons. It's a little bit of successful philosophy with Coach LeBeau. Certainly learned a lot from him defensively. But in the end, Bill Belichick, in my time there, I didn't get to New England until I was in year 13. I learned more in year 13 about some of the simple things about winning football games that I learned in the previous 12 years combined.
Wow.
I thought I was up to speed with all these things. But just some simple things. Like so often, if you watch an NFL game or even a college game, a team will call a timeout at the last second. And what do the announcers say? Oh, my gosh, they're all out of sorts. They wanted to call a timeout because they saw something they didn't like. No, they're doing what Coach Belichick calls a Kodak moment. In that Kodak moment, you want to allow your opponent to come out of the huddle, do their motions, see their formation, and then you call a timeout at the last second because we just got a beautiful snapshot of what you wanted to do on this play. You hold a timeout for some super critical situation in the ball game, late in the fourth quarter, 2-minute drive, big third down somewhere in the game, and you use your timeout in that moment to get a look at that play. Chances are your opponent only has a couple of plays on his play sheet for that particular situation. Guess what? He probably called his favorite play first. So either we just got to look at his favorite play and we got a sense of what they're going to do, or we just stole his favorite play from him. Now he's got to go to his second favorite play. So simple little things like that I learned in New England that I didn't learn at my other stops.
Wow, that's impressive. It's Krueger and Guru right here on 95.7 The Game. That voice you hear is of Chad Brown, former NFL linebacker. He'll be on the call for the 49ers and Bears on Sunday for Compass Media Network. I'm going to ask a favor, Chad, because people are coming at me and I'm telling my partner, help me. He's helping me a little bit, but I'm taking hits because I'm stating facts. And the facts are there was an off season after the Niners lost the championship game to the Rams, Chad, where this was just going to be Trey's show. Jimmy was gone. Jimmy said his bye-byes. And all of a sudden, Jimmy is still here. And I'm just saying, what if the first-year starter in Lance gets off to a slow start? Can you talk about the player dynamic in the locker room? If some veterans maybe go to the coaches and say, hey, we're 4-6 or 5-5, we need Jimmy in there. Is that a bad thing to assess? Is that reality? Because that's what I believe it is.
Well, yeah, so for John Lynch and for Kyle Shanahan, they've set up an odd situation there, clearly. And for Trey Lance, you want him to be fully focused on moving forward. It's hard to be fully focused on moving forward if you got somebody right there behind you who has had success, who some guys in the team may still think is the best opportunity for them to win, to go with that guy. And clearly the fan base is going to be involved in this. You lose 2 in a row, there's going to be cries for Jimmy G. So it's an odd situation. Kyle has got to play that locker room exactly right. I've been involved where there's been a split in the locker room between Mike Tomczak and Cordell Stewart, between Matt Hasselbeck and Trent Dilfer in Seattle. And yeah, guys begin to take up sides. And I won't say it'll rip a team apart, but it'll start to pull at the seams. And it starts to create a little bit of doubt. And as soon as the guy who the coaches proclaim as a starter throws an interception, those guys who are rooting for the other guy, they roll their eyes on the sideline and they say, see, this is why we should have went with the other guy. See, this is why. And maybe one guy's a little bit more turnover prone than the other. When Matt Hasselbeck was young in Seattle, he turned the football over. So defensively, we all wanted Trent Dilfer to be the starter. He was a cleaner playing player, less turnover prone. So when Matt would have an interception, we would go on the field all rolling our eyes like, come on, man, put Trent in the game. This shouldn't be happening. We shouldn't be going on the field right here. That's the kind of potential dynamic that can exist when you have a 2-quarterback situation like Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, there's no question. Wow. And then that is the fear. Chad Brown with us as we talk a little bit about Sunday's game, and he'll be on the call. Very interesting teams, two young quarterbacks, 2 young offensive lines. Do you see a scenario, Bears switching from a 3-4 to a 4-3? Kyle's known as a ruthless play caller, and he'll pick on some defensive player and make him the conflict defender and try to exploit him in pass coverage. Who do you think that may be on this Chicago defense?
Wow. I got my game boards for this game, and I started going over the defensive lineup for the Bears. It's like, okay, outside of Robert Quinn and Roquan Smith, who's really a well-known household name? Not very many guys. So if you're Kyle Shanahan, I think you kind of got your pick there. You mentioned the transfer over from one style of defense to another. There's always learning curves that occur when you do that. Assignment responsibility issues, particularly in game 1, that can come out. And I'm sure Kyle is going to test the edges. That's when you're an outside zone team. You want to test the edges. See which edge defender is going to make a mistake first. Then we can begin to really attack that guy. Oh, you want to stay outside? Now we're going to run off tackle. You want to overcommit off tackle? Now we're going to go outside. Oh, you're overcommitting to the backside run. We'll bring a jet sweep on you. So Kyle's such a creative play caller and such an aggressive play caller. He's going to find the weak fish. Who that's going to be, I don't know. But again, if you're Kyle Shanahan, stay away from Roquan and Robert Quinn. And I think you got your pick after that.
Yeah, seriously.
Thank you so much, Chad. We know you're busy getting ready for the game. Had a good call, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Chad.
Man, a lot of good stuff there.
He's good, man.
Man, that locker room thing, And you know what I should have
reality.
followed up with, Larry?
That's real.
Okay, when a locker room's torn, besides you giving the side eye on the sideline, and nobody will quit. How can that be? How destructive can that be? And if you're going to say morale, but if you're going to tell me you're going to still bust your ass if it's me or you out there, I was kind of thinking when he said that, how does that really harm the team, I guess?
It's about personalities, Goo, because, I mean, let's just say, like Trent Williams is 34 years old.
Man.
He doesn't know. This might be his last year in the NFL. Probably not, but he might be.
Okay.
And if you had a quarterback who was incredibly raw, let's say Trey was out there and he was just so raw that they're not moving the team and then they're losing games. This is a guy who's staring at his football mortality and saying, hey, man, I've never won the ring. I've never been to the bowl. I want to get there and I want to win that ring. We got a guy sitting right there who's led a team to a Super Bowl and played in multiple NFC championship games. I think if you have enough guys who are verbal enough, who maybe don't have a belief in the young quarterback.
Wow, man.
I think that feeling of, hey, let's just stand behind our guy starts to erode as the losses start to mount.
And Trey would, or anybody, if it were you or me and we were in Trey's position, forget that the coaches haven't made a move. You kind of see and hear that because you're living it in the locker. You could tell when somebody might be, you know what I mean? They probably want option B, which is Jimmy. So again, I'm rooting for Trey, but when you look at it in this totality, there are layers to this to where just him at practice or him on the bus or what have you in meetings, you're going to feel, man, Larry ain't too high on me. You know what I mean?
Well, and what it's going to require, and the players all know this, it's going to require a level of patience. So I really
said that earlier.
I do not think that Kyle's going to pull Trey out of a game in the first half of the year unless it's due to injury. I don't think he's going to play, he's so ineffective, he's got to come out. I would be shocked by that. I think the 49ers understand. I think Kyle understands. I think the players understand the dynamic that goes into the situation when you start shuffling back and forth. So I don't think they're going to play that rotating quarterback thing. I think you're only going to see Jimmy if Trey gets hurt.
Let's go out to Fillmore Mike in San Francisco. I'll let him tell you what he wants to talk about, Larry. What's up, Mike?
Hey, what's up, Guru? You sounding good leading the show, man.
Larry and I, Shaq and Kobe and Shaq. What's up, baby?
Hey, man, I just want to say, man, for all the people that's out there that know Trey Lance, that ain't seen him play, I've been harping on this for like the last week because everybody that see Trey Lance act like he didn't play 8 years in the league. They still trying to figure out how Kyler Murray gonna play this year. But did y'all see Matthew Stafford last night? I don't know who called him a top. ESPN, they be smoking rocks. They said the Warriors had a 13% chance, so I can't believe them no more. But they said he was a top tier quarterback. How? Jaworski Torch dropped, saved his whole reputation because he's not that good. The Rams are soft. Matter of fact, I call them limp. They're limp. The Rams is so limp. I don't know the NFC as a whole is not a good division, as you can see. But man, and then my last point, Josh Allen is a boy. He was playing around out there, man. He's going to be scary. If Trey Lance can get up to his level, because Josh, you can see he just has total control over the offense. When he want to run the ball, he'll run the ball. He was playing around out there, man. That's a scary sight. That's a boy right there.
Yeah, he is.
Appreciate the call, Mike.
Wow. I think the Rams are a little bit. I thought the Rams were a little bit overrated anyway.
They should have lost to the Niners. Well, and I'm not even a Niner fan saying that. I hate when teams get something they don't deserve. Tart catches that pick. Stafford's right. People are like, it goes, but he's a champ now. He can show up, Mike, on week one, half-assing it. Not that he did, and be like, you know what? We got 16 more of these. But what you can't take away from me, people, is me being a champ. And I made Calvin Johnson.
I mean, Stafford is a top-tier NFL quarterback.
I've always liked him.
What you saw last night is a Ram offensive line that got whipped. They got whipped. 7 sacks, 15 hits on your quarterback.
But Mike's right, Larry. He's a champ now as opposed to had he threw that pick, and it was one of those picks. I'm so frustrated. I just want it out of my hand, and they lose that at home. He would have been finished in L.A. He would have played. but his reputation would have been ruined. So, Mike, I feel you, but you can't go all the way with that in the end zone because now he's got bling bling and he's got the BOD, the benefit of the doubt. And I don't think he was god awful last night. Allen threw 2 picks, and Larry, this bothers me for Josh Allen. He was out there, and he's a football player. I get that. There was some non-smart putting yourself in harm's way. I don't know what they were calling. Josh Allen trying to show us he's Earl Campbell. Like, he could have been hurt, and it can happen on any play. But that, from my TV in my living room, was reckless. Like, what are you guys doing putting yourself in harm's way? Because if something happened to him, your season's done.
I know. But, he's a young quarterback. He's what 6'6", about 230.
Dude.
And
so that's the comp for Trey?
Yeah, that I would say that's the guy they're hoping that Trey becomes. A big time athlete who improves his accuracy and completion percentage over a 2-3 year period. I think ideally they hope 3 years from now that Trey's right there in that Mahomes, Josh Allen category.
That would be big. And again, you talk about the 53%. That was something that was worrisome for Allen. And now when he's on the run, Larry, I think he's more accurate than when he's sitting back in the pocket. But that's a compliment.
Yeah, he completed 10 in a row.
Man.
10 in a row.
Yeah. Threw a couple picks. I know things happen.
He threw a couple picks. He's going to take some chances for sure. He's not all the way there yet. But I'll tell you, man, they've done an incredible job there in Buffalo, giving him weapons. He's got Diggs, he's got Gabe Davis. Now he's got Dalvin Cook's younger brother. They've got tight ends there. They've improved their defense. They added Von Miller. Outside of the veteran corner that they didn't get, man, Buffalo looked impressive.
And they were tackling too.
They were.
Yeah, when the Rams got the ball, they were going to the ground. Now, what about what Mike said? I know it's been one game of the 2022 NFL season, but do you think the whole NFC conference is down?
Yes.
Because I'm telling you, Dallas they're not making the offs. So they made the playoffs. They don't do anything for me. I think the Saints are going to be better than a lot of people think. I got them going to the playoffs, and I think Carolina is going to be better than a lot of people think.
I agree.
Baker Mayfield's won a playoff game in Pittsburgh.
He's got good weapons now, too. DJ Moore, he's got McCaffrey.
So do you think it's down in like Mike says? Because I'm hearing that from a lot of people. Oh, the NFC.
The Niners far and away have the best roster in the conference. The Rams have the best top of the roster, but they're very thin. And that's why I don't like them to make the playoffs.
What about the
Cardinals? The Cardinals,
they were the number one seed.
Yeah, but the Cardinals, I put a line through the Cardinals. As soon as yeah, seriously, just like put a line through them. They have no shot. Why? Because there's something going on there. They're the ones who put that clause in on Kyler Murray. So they're telling you that they don't think he works hard enough.
No doubt.
That's a huge issue.
I don't think you come back from that.
That's a losing organization.
Exactly. And you know what? 2 question marks. And let's be honest, Cliff had this, something happens in college at the end in go time, but both of them got paid. They paid 2 guys to me. I don't know if they go together, if they fit. So I don't know where you go from here. But Larry Krueger, I'll tell you this until I'm done spending my last penny, and I'm close to it. I have never seen an organization pay a guy, and that's the ultimate compliment, and then put in a clause to embarrass him and let that clause get out. Like I'm a grown man. I got to check myself on this one. I think they ruined Kyler Murray for me because they were sending a message and it was heard around the world. And I just don't know how Kyler Murray comes back from that. Now, when he goes to the bank, ATM, it's all good and dandy, but forget the money. When you talk about just the football aspect, I've never seen a team stab their quarterback in the back like I feel Arizona did to Kyler.
I know. And it changes the dynamic. I know we got Dan Hampton coming up, but I'll tell you one thing. One thing we should talk about before we get out of here is who's the one team, because I think the NFC is totally down.
Okay.
Who's the one team in the conference that you think stands between the 49ers and a return trip to the Super Bowl?
Okay.
Because you mentioned Dallas. I think you can make arguments for about 10 teams, and when you look closer at all of them, you realize there may not be any. There may not be one team in that.
I got
the
one
NFC.
for you that I mean.
Okay.
Okay, and it's not the Rams because I had the Rams going representing the NFC in the Super Bowl, and I'm not abandoning them because of what transpired last night. I'm just like, when you get that ring ceremony night, I know it's not the NBA, Larry, and it was 10-10 at half when it should have been 24-0. So the defense was there. They got tired. Donald couldn't get any help. It was 10-10. So it was a ball game in my book. But the fact that you won the champ, you're Heathcliff, the fat cat, I'm not going to say the Rams are done, but they do that O-line, their issues. And let's put another rat on the table before we break here, Larry. The Rams were last year wasn't all pretty. It wasn't 15-2. They looked like a team that might not make it, and then they caught fire.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we look at them and we go, oh, God, I had Steve Weish on the show this week, and Steve Weish was like, his pick for the Super Bowl is the Rams. And to me, it's like, look at the Rams and how top heavy they are. Look at their backups on both sides of the ball, and then come back and tell me you think with reasonable injuries that they're going to find their way through. I don't think so. I think they're thin.
Hey, we're the last hour before week one, Larry. I'm juiced. We'll have Dan Hampton, the Super Bowl champion. He'll come up in the last hour. I'll answer your question about the team that I think stands in the Niners' way, and we want to hear from the fans.
We're 3 hours in already?
Dude,
that's the fastest 3 hours.
It is.
Man, that was fast.
Yeah, Steiny and Guru right here on 95.7 The Game.
Gorgeous gaming, stunning streams, unbelievable bandwidth. It's another Lifestyles of Gagillionaires. Meet the AT&T Fiber customers winning at life with hyper gig speeds. Meet Gagillionaire Terry. While his love of streaming horror movies has him constantly on the edge of his seat, his internet bill won't give him a scare.
Oh, don't go in there. I'm telling you.
Because since Terry upgraded to AT&T Fiber with hyper gig speeds, he doesn't worry about data caps or equipment fees.
Come on, man. The door's open for a reason.
And best yet, he also doesn't stress about a price increase at 12 months, because with the amazing Gagillionaire lifestyle comes an exquisite sense of tranquility. Most of the time. Live like a Gagillionaire. Get straightforward pricing with AT&T Fiber, internet that upgrades everything. No data caps, no equipment fees, and no price increase at 12 months.
Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/hypergig for details.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you may be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to business.
We can't wait to see your smiling faces.
But for this school year, you've got to know before you go. If you're feeling sick, here's a test for which you don't need to study.
Vaccines and boosters help keep you in the classroom.
Visit myspot.nc.gov for more information.
And we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com. That's getrefunds.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Tired of companies like Google and Facebook watching everything you do online?
There's actually a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with a push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
For all contest rules, go to 957thegame.com/rules.
The Golf Mart, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee, serving Northern California golfers for over 30 years.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This view was worth a hike.
Right? And it's a good way to stay on top of my health.
Yes, I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. Have you screened for colon cancer?
Not yet.
Don't wait. It's more treatable when caught in early stages.
Tell me more.
Cologuard is non-invasive and it's used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or a personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you, or visit Cologuard.com.
I'm in.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately, like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box. All for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New gigabit extra internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes wireless usage. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible Xfinity gateway.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMC FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
Let me give you some history, Larry. On this Football Friday, 1 hour left.
What do you got?
We got football tonight, college football.
Nice.
You can bet on it if that's what you do. If you play the ponies, we got baseball. Then we got
what's this baseball thing you discuss?
Well, baseball. You're out, huh? You're done.
Oh my God! On the Giants.
Yeah, but
I've been out.
Yeah,
I've been out.
We got an hour, but right now we got an NFL Hall of Famer on the line. Dan Hampton, Super Bowl champion with the legendary 1985 Chicago Bears. We know you're busy, Dan. Thank you so much for joining the program. How are you?
Hey, guys, doing great. Waiting with bated breath for the 49ers to show up and get this thing kicked off.
No doubt. Dan, I'm talking to my partner, and we're trying to dissect the Chicago Bears. We're talking about your old team that got it done, and you had so many great players and personalities. Let me ask you this, not to put you on the spot, Dan, but who's the best current Chicago Bear right now?
You mean with the existing?
Yes, sir. The current team. Yes.
Guys, it would have to be Roquan Smith. He was graded as one of the top 5 linebackers in football. I think he was a Pro Bowler last year, but we don't have a whole lot. But I tell you what, we got a bunch of guys that'll scratch, claw, and bite. And I think the 49ers are kind of expecting that. You know, a lot of times you have a team that doesn't have a whole lot of talent. Well, they have to do what they have to do, and it's going to be an old time fist fight, if you want to call it that.
Well, man, Dan, it's a pleasure to talk to you. You were a bad man on the football field, and we really enjoyed it. Even if you weren't a Bears fan, I mean, you came there in '79 in the '79 draft. Jim Finks, one of the great personnel guys of all time, put that whole thing together, and you saw it come together. 79, 80, 81, 82. 83, and then finally, we get to 85, and you guys just exploded. At what point in that process from when you joined the Bears before 85 did you know we're building this thing into a monster?
Well, Ditka came in 82, and then they kind of caught fire on a Monday night game against the San Diego Chargers. We were 15-point underdogs in Monday Night Football, our only appearance in like 3 years. And we beat the great Don Coryell and Dan Fouts team. And it was kind of like one of those deals where we kind of look at each other and said, okay, why not us? Why not now? And the next year, we ran into your Mr. Montana in the championship game, but
yep,
that kind of only gave us the impetus to come back in 85 and do what we had to do. But you're exactly right. Jim Finks was incredible as a GM, and he was the guy that put that team together. When we played in the Super Bowl, we had 9 first-round draft picks that started. We had 5 number 2 draft picks that started, like Matt Suey and Mike Singletary. So it was a team built through the draft. And I got to tell you, your current 49er team, obviously everybody is wondering, okay, Trey Lance, is this going to work out? I know you got Jimmy Garoppolo waiting in the wings, but, you've got a team that has been built very much the same way. And it's almost like a Super Bowl roster waiting to happen. And we're just hoping they're not really thinking about the Bears this week and kind of sneak up and surprise them.
You're listening to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game. We're joined by Dan Hampton, NFL Hall of Famer and Super Bowl champion with the legendary 1985 Chicago Bears. Dan, I want to ask you a question because these two storied franchises have met in the playoffs, and I remember the great Bill Walsh, we all do, rest in peace, going up against your team and Mike Ditka. Can you speak to the relationship between Ditka and Bill Walsh, because it was a rivalry that I don't think gets talked about enough?
Yeah, you're exactly right. There were great personalities back then. Bill Parcells and then later on Jimmy Johnson, was and Buddy Ryan when he was coaching in Philadelphia. The thing was, Mike Ditka. Yeah, every person has strengths and then they have liabilities or weaknesses. And Mike Ditka was a master motivator and a talent evaluator, but he wasn't, the guy that could come up with the intricate offensive game plans like Bill Walsh could. And I think in an abstract way, Bill Walsh kind of made everybody feel inferior, and that only drove Ditka crazy, and he wanted to stick it up Bill's nose, And so at some point you know that the coaches have a rivalry. Well, guess what? That's why the guys on the field roll up their sleeves and say, hey, we're going to win for you, boss. And every time we played the 49ers, and they beat us more than we beat them. But, man, you guys had a great team. And, Bill was fantastic. But what he was able to do with first Joe Montana, and then, of course, in the subsequent years, George Seifert, he was able to have your other hot shot. I can't remember who that was.
Steve Young.
No, the quarterback. You got him from Tampa, Steve Young.
Yep, Steve Young. Yep.
Yeah, and you know what, Steve Young, he was a terrific player, but Joe Montana, he was one of those guys that you wanted a quarterback. He would make the plays that you had to have made. And,
I think it was Lombardi says, hey guys, every game it comes down to about 5 plays. And, whoever makes the play for their favor on those 5 instances during the course of a game, you're probably going to win 90% of the time. So, Joe was one of those guys that would just make the plays, keep the sticks moving, throw the touchdown pass. When you beat Dallas, I think it was 84. So, I mean, those were great days, and you had to be at your best or you had no chance.
We're talking to the great Dan Hampton with us on 95.7 The Game. Okay, we can talk Niners Bears, but I like to talk a little Bears. And Buddy and Ditka didn't see eye to eye. Practice had to be incredible. Guys getting cut and Buddy sounding off. And I heard Ditka walked into your D-line room and Buddy was like, "Get the hell out of here." What was that dynamic like? When you guys won it all in the Superdome, you carried Buddy and Ditka off. I mean, 2 guys got carried off. But what was the dynamic like between Ditka and Buddy, and how did that fuel your guys' team?
And we got carried away. Here's what happened. We wrote a letter at the end of the 1981 season to George Halas, the grand old Papa Bear that started the NFL. And we said, hey, you're going to change the coaches. Fine. But don't change the defense. We're on the verge of something, much like you were talking about 5 minutes ago, that we knew it was going to come together. Well, George Halas hired Buddy 2 weeks before he hired Ditka. So guess what? Buddy basically said, screw you. You didn't hire me. You're not my boss. And so that drove Ditka crazy. Could you imagine, Shanahan, having the defensive coordinator giving him the finger, it was crazy. And a lot of times in practice, it was harder than the games because, it would be like escalate the game tempo in a matter of 2 plays. And so those are the things that, it was the way it was. And that's the way, it went down. And it made us, really tough and it made us very violent. But you know what? You can only, play at your best, so long. And those great teams that we had, we wore out by about 1988. But I tell you what, practice used to be more fun than the game. We'd be going at it.
I believe it.
Steiny and Guru right here on 95.7 The Game. We're joined by Dan Hampton, NFL Hall of Famer, and again, Super Bowl champ with the legendary 1985 Chicago Bears. Dan, we're having a ball, and when I found out we're having you on, this is kind of personal, but it's always kind of stuck with me, and maybe you could help me out and speak to it if you like. That day you guys won the Super Bowl, Mike Ditka elected to give the ball to the Fridge, who scored, and the late great Walter Payton didn't get in the end zone. Can you talk about the immediate aftermath? If that was odd to you or any of your other teammates in the meantime? Like, how did that play out? Because that's a regret I have, and I'm not even a Bear fan, that Walter didn't get the taste of the end zone on the Super Bowl.
Well, we all loved Walter. He was exemplary in all facets as a player, as a man, as a teammate. We didn't know that it really bothered him. And we'd never been to a Super Bowl, so we were just glad to be there. We were glad that we won, and it was a blowout. And we were almost like, second half, we were not partying, but we were having a great time. And it kind of got lost in the shuffle. And you know what, Dick did? To this day, he says it's his greatest regret of his coaching career. But you know what? I remember I went up to Walter in minicamp, 3 months after the Super Bowl, and I went up and said, "Hey, how you doing?" He goes, "Hey, I'm good." And I said, "Guess what? I didn't score a touchdown in the Super Bowl either. I'm still alive." Hey, don't make such a big deal out of it. I don't think that Walter wanted to kind of make it as big as the media made it, but it really did hurt him. Mm-hmm. All I know, the night before the game, he had Ditka had the captains get up and say something, and I was, the next to last, and I said, "Hey, all I know is the rest of my life, either I'll wear a Super Bowl ring that says champion, or the other guy's going to wear it, and I'll be damned if I'm going to let him wear it the rest of his, And then I sat down, and Walter stood up, and he goes, "Guys, I never thought I'd be here. He was in his 11th year, and he said, I own every record known to mankind, but that doesn't matter. To be able to say, I'm a champion, that means the world to me. And all I want you to know is you guys will always be my heroes for helping me get here. And I mean, we were ready to run out the door and put the suit on and go out and kick ass then. But I really think that, in the years after that I think Walter may have gotten a little embarrassed that it was kind of overblown. But yeah, it was a mistake. But boy, Ditka, he really felt, terrible about it. And we all kind of hate that it kind of went down that way.
Dan, it's funny. Sometimes I have a hard time naming the players on the Niners, and I can name almost everybody on the 85 Bears defense. Seriously. I mean, it was Dent, it was McMichael, it was yourself, it was the Fridge, there was Wilbur, Mama's Boy, Otis Wilson, Mike Singletary, Fensick, Sean Gale. We could go right on down. Doug Plank. Who was the leader outside of Buddy among the players on that defense? Where you might have been the veteran guy. McMichael was crazy. What was that? What was that room like? Tim Ryan, who's the Niners color analyst, was a young player on some of those late '80s Bears teams, and he talks very fondly about some of those D-line meeting rooms. Who was the leader in that room?
Yeah, T. Ryan was with us. I played through the 1990 years, and I think he was with us the last couple of years. Great guy. Mike Singletary was kind of the heartbeat of the defense. He was the middle linebacker. He made the calls. He made the adjustments. And rightfully so, he's been given an awful lot of credit. But, guys, when we lined up in that Super Bowl, 9 of the 11 on defense had made a Pro Bowl.
Wow.
It was incomprehensible how many good players we had. And then on the offensive side, we had a terrific offensive line. Of course, Walter Payton. It was a tremendous football team from top to bottom. But if you want to say, okay, who was the leader? Well, for the entire team, it was Walter Payton. And he would do it by getting there at 5 a.m. and he would stay until 7 at night, whether it's getting treatment or training. You'll go in the training room and going in the weight room and working out, watching film. I mean, it was a great group. And, the guys making all this money today, people ask me, man, you'd be worth $25 million a year if you played now. And I said, yeah, but you know what? Quite honestly, if the Bears would have known, I would have played for nothing. It was that much fun.
I believe it.
Thank you so much, Dan. We would wish you good luck this weekend, but you know how that is. We're rooting for the Niners, but thank you so much for sharing your memories, and we'll talk to you soon.
Guys, I'm predicting a score, the same score than when the Niners came in November of 1988. We won 10-9.
I remember that one.
Richard, write that down.
10-9.
Take the under. All right, Dan. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Dan.
Man. I remember that game. Richard Dent had a sack, and he jumped over the offensive line and made the sack.
That was the best defense I've ever seen in my lifetime.
No doubt.
I think they beat Dallas 44-0 or 44-3 one Sunday.
In Dallas.
Man, in Dallas. You're right.
In Dallas.
That was, and they went and got it done, won the Super Bowl. I mean,
Greatest
how many
defense of all time?
I'm with you.
Better than the 2002 Bucks with John Lynch and Simeon Rice.
What about Ray Lewis's Ravens?
Better than the 2000 Ravens.
Who was better?
Better than the 75
Bucks or Ravens
Steelers
defense to you?
That's a
what
great
the Bucks
one.
did to the Raiders in the Super Spadoni. I'm sorry,
I would say Ravens. I would say Ravens.
Who was it?
Legion of Boom for me.
Wow, Spadoni, a millennium Legion of Boom.
I would say 70.
But they
to
were
me,
bad.
if you say the greatest defenses of all time, I think most people would say it's the 85 Bears or the 75 Steelers.
Wow.
And then just pick your poison, right? Mean Joe Green, Mel Blount.
But that Raven
Donnie
defense
Shell.
was bad with Ray Lewis.
That Ravens
Ed
defense in
Reed.
2000 was incredible with Chris McAllister on the corner and the late Tony Siragusa.
And they got it done. They got it done.
They were incredible. But I would say the Bucks of 2002 were a little faster. The Ravens of 2000 were a little better. But they all take a back seat. 86 Giants.
That's wow.
84 Niners. But I would say 85 Bears, without a doubt, best defense of all time.
And we're going to grab Rich and Fremont here in a second. But that's where I was going. Best Niner defense to you. Sound like you said the 84?
84, they were stacked. I mean, they were really, really loaded. Eric Wright, Ronnie Lott on the back end. I mean,
they didn't win it that year.
Yeah, they did. 84 Niners beat Marino.
Oh, yeah,
Stanford.
Okay. Yeah,
so
wow.
That's how great
that's the
NFC
first team
was.
to really win a home game.
It was 84 Niners, 85 Bears, 86 Giants, 87 Redskins. I mean, you're talking about the NFC at its apex. Incredible teams.
And I was talking to JD a couple of days ago about the championship game. I think it was a championship game. Yeah, in RFK where Ronnie got flagged.
83.
And it wasn't a flag. The Niners were better than the Redskins.
Yeah, they were. But they had too much respect for Washington that year. I think they ran into a 21-0 hole, and then Montana brought them back in the second half, and they should have won it, except it got stolen on a couple penalties, a couple real bad calls, little home cooking at RFK. And that lit their fuse for 84.
Kind of like the Niners did when you jumped on Dallas and Dion put the flag on Irvin and they didn't call it. You remember that?
Yeah.
You guys should have lost that one.
No. 94?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Dude, we came to Aikman. They had off the
Niners
jerseys.
Niners beat them in the regular season in 94,
yeah,
too.
I'm talking about that game here and that NFC Championship. I thought it was over, and here they came. And then he was open, and Dion grabbed him. Throw the flag.
Dallas blew it. They won back-to-back titles. They had the best team in the league. They had the youngest team in the league, and they ran off Jimmy Johnson.
That's just, I'll never get over that.
That was stupid.
It's just, it should be a movie.
Yeah.
Let's go out to Fremont and welcome Rich to the program. Thanks for holding, Rich.
Hey, what's up, Guru?
You got it.
Hey, my man, how are you?
Doing great, man. What's up?
So Guru knows this. I was the one when the NBA season was on. I was the one that told them how many games the Warriors would beat Denver, how many games the Warriors would beat Memphis, and how many games they would beat Boston in. And Guru knows this, and every time I called it, it happened. So what I'm here to do is unveil the disguise of the NFC. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you right now, there's only if Trey Lance lives up to the hype that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have seen in this guy, there's only one team that stands in the 49ers' way. And y'all remember this. The only team that stands in their way right now is the New Orleans Saints.
Really?
Okay?
Rich. I got the Saints making off, but go ahead.
Jameis company are going to stand between the Niners and the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because you have to look at the fact that the formula of what they put together over there, their running game has increased.
They got
their defensive secondary is amazing. They got
Lattimore, Tyra. Isn't the Honey Badger there now?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Okay. And so if Winston matures, like I think he will this season, that team is going to be hard to stop.
Yeah, Rich, we appreciate the phone call. Dude, the Saints, they've had good D the last 2 years. They just can't get out of their own way. And I'm telling you, man.
The personnel's good there. Seriously. And the big question is Michael Thomas.
What's
Michael Thomas?
And that's why I say sports is so fickle. You get these runs, and I this is not fair, but I go to Jeremy Lin. When he was at Lin Sanity, and then it went away. But I mean, Michael Thomas was looked at as a top 3 receiver, man. And then now, if you read some of his quotes and the stuff that he's doing off the field, it's like something else could be at play. But, I thought he was going to be back ready to go. And it's like they could definitely use him. But our conversation with Chad Brown about the black quarterback, Larry, and I don't just appreciate it because you agreed, but there is something to when you talk about black head coaches not getting the second or third chances. That's where the problem is to me, a lot of it. But Jameis Winston, I can't defend him and say he's been better than he has. He deserves what's come his way, his podium game, all that stuff. But to say we know for sure that he can't get it done,
well, no,
I'm like, man,
I think
that's why I'm rooting like hell for him. Like, this is your last chance, bud.
I think he can get it done. He kind of reminds me of Brett Favre from the standpoint of he needs to be kind of reined in. Brett Favre turned the ball over way too much at Southern Miss, and he was a riverboat gambler and took too many chances. You can say the exact same thing about Winston. Winston has a big-time arm. Winston has big-time talent. He's thrown a lot of touchdowns almost every year. It's the picks. It's the turnovers. It's the mistakes. If he can get in a run-heavy scheme with a good offensive coaching system, The sky's the limit. They added Olave from Ohio State.
Yeah.
They've got
He's
Kamara.
badass. Okay.
Troutman's a decent tight end. They got a pretty good offensive line. He mentioned the defense. I mean, you got Cameron Jordan, Onyemata up front, Davenport, and then in the back end, you got Marshawn Lattimore and Paulson Adebo, the former Stanford kid, and you got the Honey Badger. So I think New Orleans is well positioned. But it's going to come down to, can Jameis take care of the football? Because you're not going to
led the league in touchdowns and interceptions.
Yeah,
yards, he gives you that, but you're right.
You can't throw 32 interceptions. And
no
win,
doubt.
Right?
You know what I want from you before we get out of here is your predictions. And we're going to take them from the listeners on the other side. All that brought to you by Innova, now international.
Brought to you by On Deck Small Business Loans.
When you own a small business, sometimes you need funds fast. So go to OnDeck.com, America's largest online small business lender. OnDeck makes it easy to apply in minutes. Apply for your loan today at OnDeck.com.
Niner fans, 8:30 Monday morning, you gotta be there. 49er legend Jerry Rice comes in to break down Niners Bears at Soldier Field. Check it out at 8:30 on 95.7 The Game.
At Left Coast Buyers, we buy properties all over California. If you own a house or an apartment building and want to sell it fast at a great price, call us at 925-434-5000. We can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. We buy properties in any condition, any price range. Do you own a property that is run down and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Are you out of time, money, and energy? Are you looking for an easy way to get top dollar for your property and sell on your terms and timeline? Well, call Left Coast Buyers now at 925-434-5000. We buy divorce houses, inherited houses. We even buy vacant houses and abandoned houses. Do you have a tenant who hasn't paid? Are you behind on property taxes, mortgage payments, or even facing a foreclosure? Even if you're just nervous about capital gains or an upcoming recession, we've seen it all. So if you or someone you know owns a property and needs to sell, call Left Coast Buyers at 925-434-5000. That's 925-434-5000.
The following is an attorney advertisement. If you get sidelined by a workplace injury, the workers' compensation attorneys at Boxer and Gerson can help get you back in the game. Our team of skilled attorneys will fight by your side for the treatment and compensation you deserve. We care about justice for injured workers. That's what makes us Northern California's premier workers' comp law firm. Call Boxer and Gerson at 510-345-2341 or visit boxerlaw.com for a free consultation. Boxer and Gerson, your life is worth the fight.
Doors and loading dock equipment are a crucial part of your business, and one you probably don't think much about until they break. A broken door or dock leveler can be a real security threat, along with disturbing the flow of goods in your business. Luckily, RNS is here for all your commercial door, dock, and gate needs. From overhead doors and security shutters to fire-rated and personal doors, RNS can provide your business with safety and security. Call 800-FIX-A-DOOR to schedule a free estimate or visit rsdoors.com. RNS Doors. Look for the red truck.
This football season, adopt a new tradition that's sure to turn fans into family. The Jim Beam Highball. That's beam and soda over ice with a lemon slice. Share one at the stadium or make one at home. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume. Copyright 2022, James B. Beam Distilling Company, Claremont, Kentucky. Drink smart.
Come into Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill, September 23rd through September 25th for their fall clearance sale event. Take advantage of factory direct prices, one-of-a-kind opportunities, special pricing on floor models, and convenient financing. And save on new appliances from trusted brands like Miele, Bosch, Electrolux, LG, and Maytag. Visit Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill for their fall clearance sale event, September 23rd through September 25th, for the best time to save on new appliances for your home.
Bart is turning 50, and we'd love to celebrate with you. Get 50% off your ride in honor of Bart's 50 years of service to the Bay Area when you pay with Clipper. That's 50% off Clipper Bart fares for the entire month of September. Add Clipper to your digital wallet for free. If you're eligible for other Clipper discounts like youth or senior fares, you get to take an additional 50% off those too. Details at bart.gov/50 years. That's bart.gov/50 years. Celebrate Bart's 50 years of service with us this September. Let's go.
Nachos!
Hey, I'll take some.
And some Frank's Red Hot.
Nah.
You're just going to eat these boring nachos with no flavor. Frank it up! Frank it up! This guy finally gets it.
It's the perfect blend of flavor and heat. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
In order for small businesses to thrive, they need to be smart, efficient, agile, staying ahead of the market at every turn, and finding ways to do more with less. That's never been more important than it is right now. So for a limited time, Comcast Business is introducing Small Business Savings, a deal for companies across the country. When you call in now, you can get powerful internet for just $39 a month for 12 months. $39 a month. With no annual contract and a money-back guarantee. All on the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses. With the company that powers more businesses than anyone else. So if you're a small business owner, don't wait. Call and get started today. Comcast Business. Powering possibilities.
Offer ends 9/21/22. Restrictions apply. New Comcast Business 50 megabits per second internet customers only. Requires EcoBill and autopay. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Call or go online for details. After promo, regular rates apply.
Hey, I'm Andy. And every morning I wake up thinking about shaving. When I started Harry's almost a decade ago, the shaving industry was a mess. Flashy, overpriced razors as far as the eye could see. I just wanted a great shave at a fair price. Too much to ask? I didn't think so. And that's why I started Harry's. 10 years and 20 million Harry's customers later, we're still obsessed with giving you a quality shave experience. Sharper blades, a better lubricating strip, and making our handle grippy in all the right places. All upgrades based on your feedback. And it all comes at a great price. Seriously, as low as $2 per cartridge. These days, my mornings are a little bit different. Good morning, girls. But I still wake up thinking about shaving. Our starter set has everything you need for a close, comfortable shave. 5-blade German-engineered razor, weighted handle, and shave gel. Get yours now for just $3 with free shipping, backed by our quality guarantee. Just go to harrys.com now and enter code FRIEND at checkout. That's harrys.com, code FRIEND.
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
And this is brought to you by BMW Fairfield, now open in the Fairfield Auto Mall. They provide a luxurious, all-encompassing experience to address all your BMW needs. Visit BMWFairfield.com today to book your visit. That's BMWFairfield.com. Larry, let me know if I'm prying. Do you drive a Beamer?
No. Well,
Cadillac
I have multiple cars, and one of them is a used Beamer.
Well, that
but
counts.
It's just somebody else gave it to
No,
us.
it's the Beamer.
Yeah, but I've never driven it myself.
Oh,
my kids drive it.
Gotcha. Dude,
So
my
it's a
son,
used
he's
Beamer.
going to college, so I'm almost happy because, hey, can I borrow your keys? Can I borrow your keys? I'm like, damn, I ain't going nowhere, but I give it to him. But then you get worried, man. It's like, you okay? You make it to the gym, like they're doing this late night run at the 24-hour fitness. I don't go to those. And I'm like, dude, did he make it there? It's worry, but I guess it's part of being a parent.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they don't know when Benny gets old and he's out with the friends and some of the bad friends. Or you're like, you got to pick your friends better.
I always tell my kid, I'm like, hey, man, wherever you are, whatever time of day, I don't care what the hell happened. You need a ride. Just call me.
That's a great dad. I'm hugging you from over here, man.
Do not compound your problems by getting in some car
wasn't that
with
dad.
somebody
Don't call him. Yeah, see, it was a different era then. Like, you couldn't talk to him.
I took the
I was
Muni.
cool.
I took the Muni.
They had guns and knives. Oh, it was fine. Everything was fine.
In high school, we took the Muni to parties, and we'd party at the beach and stuff like that. But I tell my kid, hey, do not compound your problems.
There it is, Larry.
I don't care where you are. And sure enough, last year, my kid goes somewhere, I think it was Capitola with his buddies.
I've been there.
Calls me at 1 o'clock in the morning.
What
Dad,
happened?
Our car, the radiator hose blew out, and we need a ride from Capitola. So what I do, I got my car, and I drove from Walnut Creek to Capitola.
But that's better than where I thought you were going. Dad, I had too much to drink. I got in an accident.
Yeah.
Parents
seriously.
get those calls, or even worse.
I know.
Somebody else is calling, but you're a good dad, man. I appreciate that.
I try to be a good dad.
Yeah. I don't know what my kids think of me. I consider myself a good dad.
Who cares what they think
Yo,
of you?
there you go. I'm not your
throwing
friend.
up 10 reps of 225, man. You're a beast.
Man, you got me juiced
you're
on
a
that.
beast, man. Why don't you go 275?
You know what? I'm going to do it and then post it and at you.
Okay.
You on IG, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I had my Krueger shirt I was going to wear.
I want to see that. I want to see Goo throwing up the 275.
And Damon, I hope he comes in so we can get at him about that. Thinking you could just own the Bears. We got to get at him on that.
Absolutely.
We brought up the 240, 275. He's like, Goo, and he said, I don't think you can do it. So I was going to take the video. I can do it, Larry. 2 times. That's all that counts.
That's 275 is a lot.
At 50,
that's probably what I topped out at
50,
275.
Yeah,
50.
And I'll foul you coming to the rack. I'm a horn now.
Damn.
Yeah, it used to be Eddie Jones.
2.25 though. How many reps did you say?
10.
10.
And then if I'm slipping, like if we went right now, Larry, I'd give you a good 6 or 7. That's 10.
That's like an NFL wide receiver.
Like, look at you.
But if you played on the line, man, I need
I need
18. I need 18 to 25.
Let's go out to San Francisco, your hometown, Larry. I got it right. Welcome, Bob, to the program. What's up, Bob?
Hey, what's happening, guys? I love the show.
What's up?
Thank you.
It's great topics too. Yeah, I was just when you piqued my interest when you started talking about the great defenses, and I was just want to let everybody know that every time the Niners showed up in the Super Bowl, we had a great defense, and some of them rank higher than most people would give them credit for. I think like the '84 team or even the '89 team.
Joe Montana outshined the Niner D, but the Niner D back in the day had Haley, Lott, Eric Wright, Tina Turner.
Beast.
A lot of great players on the defensive side.
Don't forget the '95 team. That was a defense too. You had Richard Dent come join us.
Yes,
Dion,
yeah.
right?
Richard Dent got hurt early in the year that year, but Dion, Eric Wright, or Eric Davis, I should say, on the corner. Tim McDonald, Merton Hanks,
the chicken,
Gary Plummer, Lee Woodall, Ken
Oh.
Norton. We go all day.
I was going to make the point. Unfortunately, we lost the last 2 Super Bowls, but look at those defenses. We should have won outright, right?
No doubt. No doubt. I mean, heck, if you sit there and say biggest sports regrets, why the hell did Jim Harbaugh not run Frank Gore or Colin Kaepernick first and goal from the 5? And why in the hell did he call a timeout there? I mean, I'm still not over that one.
That's the same play against the Saints. He was already walking in the end zone when they had already called the timeout. I was like, no, you didn't. And then
I was sitting next to D. Bruce watching
You
that
were
thing
there.
in the dome.
You guys were there?
Yeah.
Oh, that hurt.
We did the post game that day.
Kaepernick was trying to force feed it and couldn't see both our tight ends open on 2 consecutive plays.
I blame Harbaugh, though. I mean, you're throwing fades to Crabtree, and you got Frank Gore in the house.
And
I mean,
those were some of the most horrendous fade passes ever, though.
And you got a quarterback in Kaepernick who never could throw the fades. So what the hell are you doing? It's just
exactly
10 times stupid.
Oh, my God. Okay, thank you, guys.
Have a good one, man.
Larry,
Appreciate
you were there watching that, and Gore almost
Power
scored the
went
play
out.
before when you got the first. Why wouldn't you give it to him again? That
They
wasn't
should have
Kyle.
called-
That
they
was
should
Jimmy,
have-
man.
They should have rolled Kaepernick to his arm side to his right and just let him either find
man.
somebody or run it in. And no huddle and do it again.
I'll say this about Cap's career, and again, no shade. One of the best NFC championship games I've ever watched was up in Seattle where Sherman got the interception on the tip.
Yeah. On the night that Bowman went down with the
running
injury.
backs were in the flat. Cap, go Montana, check it down. You guys walk in the end zone.
He could never check it down.
And that was the problem.
Yeah.
2 on his watch.
Oh, I mean, people talk about the Kansas City Bowl. Kansas City, if that game went 10 more minutes, Kansas City would have won by more.
This 2019 game you're talking about.
Kansas City was.
They were done.
But Kansas City they were an explosive offensive team. If that game had gone longer, they would have won by more, in my opinion.
You think it got worse?
I think it would have got worse. I'm saying that the one the Niners really blew was the Ravens game, because the one thing you'd never, ever, ever do is call a timeout when you have an old defense that's grabbing their shorts and they're huffing and puffing and they're aghast. And that was Ray Lewis and Ed Reed at the end. And you called a timeout because you could not get a play called in time. That's on Harbaugh.
Do you look at Harbaugh as after that game you knew a breakup was imminent?
No, I didn't.
Because I feel like it wasn't Jimmy Johnson-esque because he didn't have, get the chips, but I hated to see him leave.
Harbaugh?
Yeah, I thought but then you don't stand, you only stays a few years in any locale. But I didn't buy that.
I just think he started his impact on the players started to wane as the years went by.
I'll tell you what, we're going to grab Jake in Foster City. But before we do, Larry, not to put you on the spot, give me a Niner record. I'm going 11-6.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I would say, maybe 10 wins, maybe 11 wins. I would say right there. I think they're for sure a double-digit victory team.
And I need to see what Trey will be week 17 after that game to then tell you, Larry, what they can do and how far they can go. Now, if it was just defense, they can go all the way and win it, but we know it's not that. So I need to see what Trey is, what level he's playing at, and why do I feel like you're looking at me like, how you know it's going to be Trey? Because I know I'm a Trey guy, you're a Trey guy. We're going to take that damn list off because it makes no sense that I'm on there. I'm rooting for the kid, but damn.
Trey is, in my opinion, Trey's better than Jimmy.
See that?
I don't, and there's no doubt in my mind that Trey's better than Jimmy.
Walt Disney with that. That's so disrespectful to Jimmy because you can't tell me that on the college level, let's just say Trey Lance has got the Heisman. Then I get you saying that because you've seen it on the level before the level. But for an unknown dude like Trey is to say he's already better than Jimmy, Larry, you're wishing upon a star. Trent Darby.
It's a little bit of a projection, but it's more of an anti-statement on Jimmy than it is a pro statement on Trey. I see Jimmy make the same mistakes this year that he made last year, that he made the year before. He's not a good late in the down thrower. If you take away his first read, it's a circus. He doesn't respond to pressure well. He floats balls into coverage, middle of the field. Heck, last year in the Green Bay game, he threw 2 balls to the sideline that should have been pick sixes. He got lucky on both of them.
A lot of
people just have revisionist history because they won the game. Yeah, but he threw 2 pick sixes. You realize that they just dropped him. So I mean, everybody's got their feeling on it. I think Jimmy is the kind of guy that if he went to the Super Bowl 10 times, he'd win it once. And I think Trey's got way more upside potential. So you're right. It's a little bit of a projection, but it's more of an anti-Jimmy statement than a pro-Trey.
Okay, last thing on Jimmy before we get out of here. And I think when we did the last time we hooked up and we did radio, Larry, I said, you know what bothers me about people in this world is whatever side of the fence you're on said subject, don't close your ears on the subject, the part you don't agree with.
Right.
At least listen, because that way you learn. I'm not saying change your mind, but the fact that we know, just like a lot of Niner Empire Nation, whatever they call it, are rooting for Trey, the Jimmy remaining, you tapped into it. Tell me if I'm correct here. You at least said it's odd that there may be something to the coaches seeing something in Trey that may scare them. Is that fair to say? Because that's how I feel.
I mean, people say it's a hedge. It's an obvious hedge on Trey Lance. I look at it as you took an asset that you had in Jimmy Garoppolo that you were about to basically waive because you weren't going to pay him $25 million, and you negotiated his salary down to now he's a tradable asset. So you don't have to lose your intel to the Rams, Seahawks, or anybody else. You get insurance policy on your young quarterback who hasn't played a whole lot, and potentially. If you get 2 bites of the apple, and if Trey's not ready this year, you got another guy you can go with. So I don't, I can understand why the Niners did it. I don't necessarily think that it's an obvious hedge on Trey. I look at it as the best move that they can make for themselves.
Okay. Let's go out to Foster City. Jake wants to talk about the 84 Niners. What's up, Jake?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. All right.
Great program, and man, I love that little walk in the past with Dan Hampton. That was a great segment, man, and that's what inspired me to call. Is first I'll give you my predictions for the game Sunday, and then just one little anecdote from the '80s. So I think Dan Hampton called it. It's going to be a tight, close game with the rain and everything, and a defensive struggle. But it'll come up the other way. 10-9 Niners, a 1-pointer.
Wow.
The thing from the 80s that I wanted to throw at you.
Yeah.
So it's great. Dan brought up that, they became the number 1 defense in 1984. You know, like we're getting primed and ready to go. But then they ran into, as he put it, Mr. Montana and the Niners at Candlestick that year and got shut out 23-0. And
that was with Steve Fuller, not McMahon, that day, by the way, for the Bears.
Oh, right. That's right.
Then the Bears came back in '85 and beat the Niners in the regular season with McMahon, and then won the Super Bowl.
Exactly. And that's what I wanted to bring up because I'm a real football nerd and I study stats, and especially from that era, And that leads me. You led me right into my point here. So with the Niners shutting out the Bears in the 1984 championship, that just got the like Hampton said, that got them real mad. And then they went for it the next year and went 15-1 and destroyed everybody, right? So along the way, they shut out both of their playoff opponents at Soldier Field. One of those opponents was Lawrence Taylor and the Giants. So then that got them mad, and they came back in '86, went 14-2, and destroyed the NFL, right? And won their Super Bowl.
Yep.
And with their two opponents, one was the Niners, 49-3. That they, that
Montana got knocked out. Jim Burt.
Yeah. Took him out in the ambulance. I thought he was dead that day. But then they shut out the Washington Redskins that year. And then the Redskins came back in '87, and they won it all.
Right.
It's funny how all those great teams fed off each other during that time, right? And
what an era! What an era that was, wasn't it?
Crazy,
incredible.
Right?
Thanks for the call. And now we get to, man, Larry, I mean, we got the best jobs in the world. But earlier, Larry and I talked about this moment that's upon us because the great Damon Bruce has walked into the room.
It's exciting.
And Damon, it is exciting.
It's exciting for everyone.
But we got some smoke for you.
Oh, for me?
Both of us, not
I
that
was going
smoke.
to come in here and talk about how much I enjoyed the Dan Hampton interview.
Wow, was he great?
I had compliments. I had a question. Was football really better back then? Or is nostalgia thick and the best drug to apply to sports memories? I don't know. But if you got the smoke.
We got some smoke for you, D.
All right. What
So it started this morning on the roast when I heard our own Bonte Hill say, I think Damon denounced his fandom for the Bears. And I'm in the caddy and almost crashed. I was turning left. I said, I'm trying to go right. I said, no, Damon Bruce, I know Larry, is a diehard. He's not the type of dude that will denounce his fandom for a team, for better or for worse. So I told Larry that in the first hour, and I said, you know what? We got to ask Damon because I think he didn't say those words. So as I look at you, partner and friend,
is he going to start quoting?
There's no way you're leaving your team.
We got a divorce.
Oh, look at that.
You're not who I thought you were.
No, look,
you can't do it.
Here's the thing.
A's fans can do it, not Damon Bruce.
He's like LL Cool J. I'm the type of guy, you know.
I'm going to give you a 3.
They are the ones who betrayed this relationship, not me.
They left you?
They left me. Virginia McCaskey decided, I'm just not going to die. I'm going to live forever and make sure that nothing but horrific organizational choices from top to bottom at every level of the organization are forever subpar to normal NFL standard. I just cannot put up with because here's the thing. Going to Indiana.
It's a lot of anger directed towards an elderly woman.
It really is, but I feel comfortable with it because it's her
But
fault.
no 15-2s, just if they shock the world, will bring you back. Because that would hurt me more than you leaving. Like if they have some success, you ain't
Super
coming
Bowl,
back.
Super Bowl
like the door's
too.
closed, Damon. You understand you can't come back.
I can walk through the door whenever I want to.
Look at my world.
I can leave the stadium whenever I want. I can walk back in. Just like they can leave a stadium. Let me tell you, when the 49ers left San Francisco, one of the things I said was that, let me tell you, I can promise you this, the Bears will never leave downtown Chicago.
Man, okay.
Well, they're about to do
to do that.
I mean, so
Cowboys the same.
The things that I grew up thinking were the most sacred sacraments that cannot be broken in this religion are now just so spat upon that I am a heretic. I have become, I am less passionate about that franchise. You've gone 47 years of my life giving me 1.5 quarterbacks. I just can't take it anymore.
They're cheap. They're always cheap.
And they're forever cheap. They're forever subpar. The stories that you hear about breaking off consulting fees for former players coming around are always embarrassing. Like they're just a poorly run organization. And so I am married. The bad football team that I'm married to is on my chest right now.
Oh, Indiana. Who they got tomorrow?
Idaho, baby. Let's go.
Idaho.
Beat the Vandals.
I just was down there yesterday talking to Marcelino McCrary-Ball. IU.
That's IU.
IU.
guy.
From the Niner practice squad.
I heard he's spectacular.
Oh, he is spectacular.
Talking, great personality.
Guy talked for 20 minutes.
Last thing about the Bears when they were good, because I asked Dan this, and I felt it when it happened. In real time, Did Damon Bruce know that the Fridge's touchdown in the Super Bowl should have gone to Walter Payton?
No.
Is he
in real time? No. I'm 10 years old watching that game.
Gotcha.
Thrilled that the Bears are winning. The Fridge was as big as anything in my young sporting life.
Phenomenon.
Exactly. So,
but Payton
getting the touchdown, like it didn't even
if you were Ditka, Damon, you would have known, though, right?
But the Bears had put up so many points, like I didn't even realize Walter Payton hadn't scored.
Well, Dan said that.
Like
too.
that's the thing.
Nobody did.
Yeah, the euphoria of the actual moment trumped everything. And so I've heard Dan Hampton talk about that moment several times. I knew it was everything that he said to you guys. He had said before, including that Walter Payton hated that this became a storyline that people pick up and ran with.
Like, wow.
He didn't want the attention. He was such a team guy. He was such a leader.
I believe
he was
that.
such a don't look at me, look at us type of football player.
He was embarrassed almost.
He was
what it
embarrassed
become.
that it became a cult of its own.
Man.
He really was. So I'm glad that he brought that up too. But yeah, the Bears have so frustrated me and so bothered me.
Wow, man.
That this was years ago. You know, I said I want to do a better job of covering the NFL. I'm going to take my fandom out of it, and that's just the way
you said 1.5 quarterbacks. Who's the half?
Peter Tom Willis.
Oh my goodness! Wow,
I got excited about Peter Tom Willis.
Look at Spadoni. Like, whoa, I hadn't heard that one in a while.
And look, Harbaugh was all right. He really was. Obviously, McMahon, the punky QB.
Dude.
But Jim Harbaugh,
Vince Evans, maybe.
Jim
Vince
Harbaugh.
Evans.
I forgot about this.
I can't even tell you how.
No, Jay Cutler, Spadoni said.
So no. So Jay Cutler, literally, for all the Jay Cutler jokes that are all hit the bullseye, accurate, proper jokes. He's the third greatest quarterback of my lifetime. He's one of the greatest Chicago Bears quarterbacks of my lifetime, and he's also an unmitigated disappointment and embarrassment all at the same time.
Did at any point were you excited by Cade McNown?
Oh, come on. Come on. He was going to change everything.
Right.
They all were. No one ever has.
Yeah, right.
It's truly embarrassing. It's like, you talk about the great NFL franchises, and look, the Chicago Bears are truly a great NFL franchise. The history of the entire league begins with them, essentially. But all they've got to sell you are these memories these days. All they've got. One Super Bowl does not a great franchise make in the modern world that we live in.
Yeah.
Like
lost to the Eagles in the playoffs, the double doink.
Well, 86, they won 14-2.
Exactly.
And I think they lost to Washington maybe in the first round.
Yeah, the disease of more. Everyone after 85 wanted more and put their hand out. And the forever cheap Chicago Bears weren't willing to pay to keep it all around. Everybody got older. Everybody got too famous too fast.
Wow. Not to ruin your show, D, but to end ours, give us a score.
How about that?
Is this going to be close at all?
I
don't know what the quarterback is. That's why I'm ecstatic and excited. What is Trey going to do?
First of all, when the Bears win this football game.
No. That's what you call a hedge.
No.
You can't come back, Jack.
No, I think it's a 49er win. It's a 49er comfortable afternoon.
You think so?
I think they cover. I think
take
they cover.
The 7 because it's at 7.
Yeah. Oh, I'm laying that and just never looking back. If I'm a 49er fan, I'm feeling really good about it.
I'm thinking 21-10.
And it may rain.
That's the thing. I think that's the thing. It's going to be an ugly day. It could be a sloppy game, an extra turnover or two. I like the under. It's going to be low scoring. I don't think the 49ers let up more than 17 points in this game. So, yeah, if they're at 21, they win this game.
Brian Young at 2:15 on Damon and Ratto and Ball D at 5.
We do. And Courtney Cronin, who is covering the Bears now for ESPN. Indiana alumni, so we're happy to have her on too.
Yeah, he's divorced.
We keep the connection going.
Dude, B.Y. is like maybe one of my favorite Niners of all time.
David Arado.
There you go. So you get to interview. I get to interview one of your favorite defensive linemen. You guys got to interview one of my favorite defensive linemen, and that's how the world balances itself.
All right, David Arado next.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride.
You're getting the big wrap up in there.